Let your elegy begin. But your aura, it has a vicious stench. Eyeliner on a parasite, so ambitious. Mendacious motherfucker, your downfall will be delicious. So fucking villainous, so fucking insincere, so fucking obvious. You're just so fucking weird. But you serve your master well. You're a husk, you're an empty shell. You turn your soul into a glory hole, or the Antichrist himself. You served your master so well. There's no benefit in pretense. Now that we've seen how your story ends, it's such a shame that we all had to witness. Couldn't save a little face from the bullet called consequence. So fucking venomous, so fucking insincere, fucking odious. Fucking didn't come from here. Don't you serve your masters well? Spewing hate till the moment you fell. Yeah, don't get me pull the trigger. The truth is, you killed yourself, 'cause you served your masters too well. You served your masters too well. No benefit in pretense. If the cathedral falls, I hope to see you nailed to the wall. Nailed to the wall. Nailed to the wall. Nailed to the wall. Empty shell. How adorable you think that nobody can tell. You're spreading cheeks for the devil himself. You serve your master well. You serve your master well. No benefit. Serve your master well.
Here we are. And if you look, come to think of it, well, I got to look at this myself. Wow.
Hypothetically, if someone was accused of having sex with goats by over 30 different people and regularly denied it, but also dropped very public hints about how much he liked to have sex with goats for decades, and ran a goat pageant to find the best-looking goats, and was best friends with someone who got convicted of fucking goats and trafficking goats to friends all over the world who also like to fuck goats, and his name was in the classified Goat Fucker Chronicles 5,000 times, and he wished other goat fuckers well in prison, what do you think the odds are that that person is a goat fucker?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
What a view.
Only minority destroying America is the billionaires. Trans people are 1% of the population. Muslims are 1% of the population. Undocumented people are 1% of the population. We are focused on the wrong 1%. Trans people aren't taking away our health care. Muslims aren't defunding our schools. Immigrants aren't cutting taxes for themselves and their rich friends. It's the billionaires and their puppet politicians. The culture wars are a smokescreen. So many of the divisions in this state and in this country are manufactured by billionaires who want us fighting each other instead of fighting them. They want us looking left and right at our neighbors instead of looking up at them. The biggest divide in our politics is not left versus right, it's top versus bottom.
What up? What up? I hope I'm audible. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Welcome to this. It's the SHILLCAST of sorts. I'm not sure who, if anyone, will be available today. I just kind of, decided to wing it. It is Wednesday, so, I know that some of you wait for this kind of thing on Wednesdays, and I don't want to disappoint you any more than I did the other week whenever I literally fell asleep. So that was the week I think we were supposed to cover. I don't even know what did get covered, if anything. I don't know if they streamed. I'm not sure. I blew it. That's all on me, by the way. I fucked that up big time. I did not sleep well the night before, and then that was the day we were supposed to cover the stuff with the video by that was Alex Myers, the obsession content, and that whole discussion. And I had not seen the movie, and I was not even aware of the controversy until that very morning. And I was like, shit, people are talking about this. We should talk about it, So I'm like, well, I'm not going to see the movie ahead of time, so I'll just spoil it for myself and go watch the videos about this stuff, and learn what the discussion is. And I, it's a good thing to do, because once I, immediately learned what the crux of the discussion was, which was, if you've seen the movie Obsession, you should probably, hopefully, understand what the issue is there. And I was like, well, I don't want to fucking wing this. I don't want to go in just kind of bullshit and not knowing what we're talking about. I want to make sure that I'm, understand the characters and what happens in the movie, so that I don't, get anything wrong. So I sit down, I start watching Ant's video, and I start watching, who else? Somebody else had a video about it. Nonetheless, I sat down to watch these things, and I ate something. This is like an hour or so before the stream was supposed to start. I was just trying to cram them in at like 1.25 speed. And I fell asleep, man. I fucking fell asleep sitting on my bed. And then I woke up a little while later, a couple hours later, and just it's pretty embarrassing, honestly. Got a lot going on right now. Haven't been due to stress and whatnot, and just having to do a bunch of stuff. I haven't been getting the most consistent sleep every night. So that's all on me. I don't know if the guys that were available could, did a show, or I apologize to them. I apologize to you. I apologize to my family for falling asleep for half a day without letting them know I was doing that, and they, I guess, thought I was going to be streaming. Yeah, kind of fucked that whole thing up, man. But you know what? As God herself once said, "You live, you learn. You lose, you learn." All right. Welcome. What up, dude? Well, yeah, you're like down there though, in that upside down world. Good afternoon, Dan. Are you excited for that one indie film about Spider-Man fighting Tarantula and Boomerang? Yeah, where Tarantula and Boomerang are definitely the big villains. Yeah, hype for that for sure. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody's looked around or anything. It's going to be kind of hard to avoid it, but like Sadie Sink's character has been revealed. And if you don't want to know that, I guess I won't say it, but like, if you're aware of what my most recent speculation was, what my predictions were going to be, because for the longest time, I rejected the notion that she would be this character that many people were saying she was. I rejected it. I didn't think it made any sense. I was like, no, that's stupid. Nope. And then kind of at the last minute, I started thinking about it a different way. And I was like, wait a second. If that is who she is, that's pretty fucking genius. If they're doing what I hope they're doing with it. And it turns out, yes, it is her. And yes, they are basically doing what I assumed, but just not this. So the real villain that's behind the whole thing is not who I speculated. So I was wrong on that one. But we all know who the real villain is, right? It's Ryan from Nothing But Media. Hey.
Hello.
How's it going, bad guy?
Oh, these things are sent to try us. I'm doing okay though.
You're a little bit quiet. Let me see if I can turn your volume up here. Whoop. Yeah, I can turn you up there. You weren't even at 100. What the hell? All right. So I don't know if you've seen any of the Spider-Man discourse. No.
I haven't now, and I'm going to see the film tomorrow night. So
Cool. Then we will not talk about details. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I figure it's going to be several days before I am able to see it. So I'm probably going to end up seeing stuff before that I don't want to. So I'm just going to I went ahead and figured out what I thought the most likely things to see by chance or learn by chance, just kind of being on the internet would be. And I just went ahead and sought that shit out, and I figured out. And there's other stuff that I don't think will be as talked about, and I have avoided that. But basically, I was like, what was the stuff that people were talking about and speculating about the most, and hardest for the months leading up to this? I went ahead and just spoiled that for myself because I'd rather do that than have somebody do it against my, without me even realizing it's going to happen and then get mad about it. And so, yeah. But it looks pretty good. I will say that. Let's check out the reviews on this guy. From yesterday, it's doing pretty well on the old, the objective meter of Rotten Tomatoes.
Which we all know you can't trust unless you are trusting it completely.
Well, right. Is it a woke movie or not? That's how you know if you can trust it. So many people, and I feel like people say this every single time there's a Spider-Man movie, that it's the best one since Spider-Man 2. Right? Do you feel it? Do you think that's... I feel like I've seen somebody say that.
I would say, with the exception perhaps of Far From Home, which had a lukewarm reception, I think, which is weird because it's solid.
It's just kind of...
It's that thing that we get with every MCU movie, is that people will say, this is not what we want, this is what we want, and then they're given that, and then they say, oh, we don't want that, we want the old thing. So that Far From Home, pretty unconnected to the rest of the greater Marvel universe, realistically, which is what people were saying they wanted. You didn't have to do any homework other than knowing who Spider-Man was.
I feel like with this one, based on not having seen it, obviously, but like understanding mostly what it's about and stuff, that they, although it does have several characters from outside Spider-Man, immediate Spider-Man lore in the plot and in the movie, it's still a Spider-Man centric plot, which is different from what it's done so far, kind of thing, right? It was always like the first one was Homecoming. That was him and Vulture, which is kind of is his villain, but he's also a guy that was more motivated by being angry at Tony Stark, and also Tony Stark. It was all connected to stuff outside of him and outside of his control. Whereas I feel like this centering Spider-Man more. But nonetheless, what I noticed looking at the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes yesterday, that I don't know if they're all like this, but a lot of the bad reviews, the negative ones, and there's not that many, but the ones that are negative, they give themselves away as to their bias in many cases. Like just in the blurb, it's not like I read their whole review or whatever, but just in a little blurb there, it's like this one, Brand New Day might be hitting a reset button to a certain extent, but so much late stage focus on its villain makes it more of a branding exercise for the upcoming Avengers Doomsday than anything else. And that's a little bit layered in the bias but it's there, which is, the couple of them that I saw, the first ones that popped up yesterday were like, it's, blah, 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 superhero genres overdone or whatever. And it's like, clearly they just don't like superhero movies. And so they're going into every single superhero movie with this fucking, okay, let's see if this blows my mind or whatever kind of attitude. And then of course, they're never going to be pleased.
And again, that's another example. That's sort of the tone of that review, is that without having seen the film, the villain isn't introduced right from the off or isn't detailed enough, but then people have been complaining that too much time has been spent on the villains for some of the films.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that also, knowing what I do know, it does that isn't accurate exactly. There's a little bit more going on there than what that says. So that's a reductive take on it anyway. But the main thing that I'm seeing over and over again, and this is what I was, had got me excited about the movie, regardless of whatever happened in it, just the trailers on their own, the way that they looked, I was been really excited about that. And that seems to be what a lot of people are praising over everything else anyway, is just the visuals of it. It's like Spider-Man's never looked better. He's as well as Tom Holland's never done a better, performance, as like he's really just 100% Peter Parker now. I was kind of felt he was that anyway, but you know, I can see him becoming a more commanding lead actor. And so that's all pretty exciting to me.
Yep.
I mean, look, it's okay. I need to talk about something. I did a white guy thing, and all of you who were watching the other day, was it Sunday when me and Morgan and Bob, old Bob stream? So we were excited to talk about Ryan Gosling being announced as Ghost Rider. That was very exciting for us. And I mean, mainly me. I was the one that was leading this thing, so I'm not to put all the blame on them. Although they were with me, they didn't stop me. They didn't. But nonetheless, I'm taking the fall for this too. I knew that there was a Black Panther 3 announced. I knew that. I did not know that there was an actor cast and announced for it.
Well, that's fair enough.
And I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, this white guy got, you know, and it's like, and then later nobody said it in chat. So all of you who were watching, you're fucking complicit too, man. So like nobody was like, hey, Dane, don't you think you ought to talk about Black Panther being cast as not only cast, but is that David Johnson? He's in Alien Romulus.
I think it's John. Yeah, it's Johnson.
Phenomenal actor. I love that character in that movie. It's like probably one of the best things about that movie.
Yeah, well, I saw him maybe a year or maybe two before he got cast in Alien. He did a Agatha Christie adaptation for the BBC, which I really enjoyed. It's not one of her strongest stories. In fact, the previous adaptation, the character was played by Bill Bixby.
Oh.
So
I streamed at midnight. What are you talking about? Was that midnight? I mean, maybe for you, it was maybe like 9:30 for me. Okay, fair enough. Really?
Yeah,
I mean, not gonna like, I'm not judging you or nothing, but I hadn't heard anyone say that. I don't think so. That's interesting. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
To be honest, I don't blame you, because I mean the news from the Comic-Con announcements were heavily focused on Gosling. I mean, partly because
basically what I feel
actor,
guilty in. Sure. I was complicit in how they presented it. They were putting all the focus on, you know, that, right? When it's like, I feel like in reality, well, not in reality, because this is what we're in apparently, but like realistically, I would have expected Black Panther news to be the highlight, the main thing. And then, you know, but I mean, I guess I understand too, is Ryan Gosling is a pretty big get. Ghost Rider is a you know, deep fan favorite, not even just fan favorite, but people that aren't even huge comic book fans love Ghost Rider. Is, you know, identifiable as shit.
I can't remember. Do you remember the Marvel Legends toy line, which I think is still going somehow?
Yes.
But when that was really at its popularity, I remember reading something that said that Marvel had found that the biggest selling action figures were Spider-Man and Ghost Rider. Of all those lines. So they pumped out quite a few different variants of Ghost Rider.
I did not know that, and that's kind of interesting. Was that just like in the 90s primarily, or did that just
probably early 2000s? I would say. I think
I wonder if they'll still hold up. I mean, he's very obviously, you know, as far as characters that I don't necessarily read a whole lot, but if I see a cool shirt or something, I might be more inclined to, you know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of character where it's just, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's obviously Spider-Man's got the name recognition. Everybody knows Spider-Man, sure. But Ghost Rider's very visually striking. And it was actually after pretty much Ghost Rider had done the Dan Ketch run, because I'm a big Ghost Rider guy, so particularly
I am very familiar with the lore. I'm not saying I haven't read it a bunch or anything, but like, yeah, Dan Ketch was my guy whenever I got into comics, and I actually got a CGC graded Ghost Rider #1. That's you know, from that iconic era. We kind of got into this the other night. Everybody's saying that they think he's going to be Johnny Blaze again, and I'm like, I feel like they would kind of be missing an opportunity to not only introduce a new Ghost Rider, but like also you could have Nick Cage be Johnny Blaze still, you know.
In theory,
yeah.
In theory, and my pitch would have been, in order to, because if you want to get into the classic, the not the classic run, the most popular run, the 90s run, Blaze is introduced into that pretty quickly.
Yeah, and he's got a cool look.
if you want to try and stay with some sort of fidelity to that, then you have to have Blaze already established
Yeah.
and I think the way they've done that is the way they could do that with Nicolas Cage kind of works. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. The problem is a lot of the Nicolas Cage visual elements for those films are Dan Ketch, the leather jacket, the sort of the way he looks, the dark hair.
Especially in the first one, he literally looks like Dan Ketch.
Yeah.
And then the second
Even
one,
the power set, because the power set between the two characters is different. The chains and I don't, as far as I can remember, the original Ghost Rider didn't have the penance stay, but I might be wrong. But so that's the difficulty they would have. But saying that, there's two things that stood out to me about he's got to be Johnny Blaze. His age makes it so that he fits Johnny Blaze more than he fits Dan Ketch, because Dan Ketch is literally a teenager. But
I never
Kevin
saw
Feige.
Teenager. I thought he was more like in his 20s. I would think, even 30s.
First episode, no, definitely in the first issue, he's him and his kid sister go to a junkyard, or they get caught in a gang fight, and they end up in a junkyard, and that's where he stumbles across the bike. And I get the feeling that he's supposed to be maybe early 20s, but certainly not Ryan Gosling's age. I mean, he looks good, but he don't look like a 20-year-old. But Kevin Feige, in his way, has said that he's not going to announce who Gosling is until Gosling wants to announce it.
That's what I saw, and I thought that was interesting.
But that Gosling came to them with a pitch based on a run of comics that he liked, and I can't imagine it's the original 70s run.
Yeah, I mean, because I've read a couple of those issues, and I mean, it's good for nostalgia, for like vintage sake, if you want to appreciate the vintage, but it's not cool the same way that the 90s.
Well, is there a way to transpose a Daredevil stunt motorcyclist in the vein of Evel Knievel, who gets basically given the power of a demon in the modern age? Or is it going to be the character that interacts with already established MCU characters and ones that they're trying to bring in? So
I don't know. That is very intriguing, the way that he's presented that. Big Field, I think, he said he is playing Danny Ketch, and I'm wondering where you get that confirmation, because I looked for it and I found what Ryan just mentioned, which is, as far as the most confirmed thing there is Feige saying that he'll let Gosling, I've taken to calling him Ghost Rider, because
I think he's right about that. I think they're aiming to do something around Midnight Suns, hopefully the original Midnight Suns, which, sorry for Moonlight fans, but
maybe not. Because, I mean, I literally saw where somebody asked Oscar Isaac about it, and he was like, dude, do it. He was like, he said Ryan's interested. This is before he was cast. He's like, Ryan's interested, let's do it. So, like, Oscar Isaac wants to do it. It kind of seems like a no-brainer at that point, where you get him, and then, I don't know, Doctor Strange.
Maybe, because the original Midnight Suns, the original team of Midnight Suns are sort of interchangeable.
I would be fine with them doing a kind of interchange, like using the concepts of Midnight Suns and then that version of Defenders, the Doctor Strange's team that he puts together. Those interchangeably kind of like
Secret Defenders.
Secret Defenders, that's right. Yes, I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Because they dealt
the
with
one thing
stuff. Secret Defenders.
The one sort of easy switch out is that one of the original Midnight Suns is Morbius, which they don't have. So
yeah, I mean, thank God. I mean, damn our luck. We could have had Jared Leto.
But yeah, it's
what's pretty funny is whenever I started looking for pictures to use for thumbnail and stuff the other day, I was like, and I started seeing people that had already posted videos and stuff about it. A lot of people were just grabbing Robbie Reyes pictures, and it's like, oh man, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think that would be a bad move as well, because I mean, the character was okay, but he drives a car, which isn't as visually striking.
Got to have a good version of a motorcycle Ghost Rider before you do. I think Robbie Reyes is a great character, actually. There's been a lot of, like Jason Aaron built him up in his Avengers run. Once he became an Avenger, he really learned how truly fucking powerful he is, because he's not powered the same way. Doesn't come from the same type of thing exactly. So his power set's kind of based in something different, and it allows for a lot of wiggle room for a good writer to, really expand on that. And he's, Ghost Rider at different times has powered other things with his powers besides his motorcycle or whatever, or in his case, a car. But Jason Aaron got fucking nuts with it, and he had him like power a Celestial, shit like that. It's like, I mean, we'll probably never go that ham on screen, but it'd be nice. Yeah, the demon is different. Yep. Yeah, and it's crazy about those Ghost Rider movies, because obviously the first one it's almost like a video game plot, the way it plays out. You go to this level, there's a boss, and you learn a new thing, and you beat that boss with the new thing, and then you level up, and then you go to the next one, and it's like he just uses one of his tricks, to one of his skills or powers, whatever, to beat each one. And it is corny as fuck. But
Yeah.
you could tell people that were doing it, they understood Ghost Rider. They just didn't understand how to tell a really compelling story with Ghost Rider.
Yeah, it's very by the numbers, with a brilliant Sam Elliott cameo, although the character he's playing is another character from the Dan Ketch run that they've retroactively made the
Well, he's
first Ghost
actually-
Rider. So,
Well, I mean, so he is the first. So do you know? But there was a version before.
yeah, which they later renamed the Phantom Rider.
Yes. Yeah, because he was. I think they changed his name for a couple of different times for a couple of different reasons. But one of the things was that at one point they realized, oh, we've got a guy wearing all white and a white hood riding a horse.
In the Old West, yeah.
In the Old West, yeah.
Yeah.
Spirit of Vengeance. That's one of those. It occupies the same space in my mind as Punisher Warzone, in that there's a lot that is exactly perfect as far as like visuals and the way it's executed and stuff. But then like the actual narrative and the characterization and everything is just so fucking weird, and like it's just too edgelord, too like But I mean, stuff like I was watching a scene from it yesterday, and where you first see the Ghost Rider in Spirit of Vengeance right at the beginning, and he shows up and he's there to save the woman and her kid, and there's all these goons around with their guns, and they're gonna kill him, and he just stands there, and then like he's kind of swaying for a second, and it's weird, and it's like it almost seems like this is Nick Cage's idea, I think. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to do this.
Yeah, and then by contrast, you got the excellent visuals of that giant crane saw thing turning into the Hellfire machine, which is
he looks. The idea that like the cool thing that they've never done this in the comics as far as I know, but like his jacket and everything is melting all the time in that movie, which is fucking great. That's really brilliant. But yeah, alas, that visually was all there was to it, and still, even then, it was like. It was all cranked up because it was by the directors of those Crank movies,
Yeah. And I think a big problem is that his main power is the penance stare, which for those who don't know, when he stares in your eyes, he makes you feel the pain of all your victims.
Yeah.
So if you're a really bad criminal who's killed a lot of people, you feel what it's like to be murdered a lot of times, which is brilliant.
But if you don't know the villain and you don't know the people that he's harmed, it's not really doesn't have such an impact. You're just kind of seeing some contextless images happen.
Yeah, and it's also surprisingly an unvisual power because he just stares at someone. So,
well, he does in that movie. He does do the thing where after they shoot him, he like spits bullets out.
Yeah,
kind of, but yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky thing. I hope they figure out some cool stuff to do with it. I hope it doesn't end up another Blade. But by the way, I completely forgot was in the Spirit of Vengeance is Idris Elba.
Yes, yeah, and
that's like,
Christophe Lambert.
Is he?
Yeah, he's one of the weird tattooed priests. And I think Kieran Hines did an excellent job as the devil. I think sadly he was better than Peter Fonda in the first one, but I think in the second one, or is it the first one? Rebel Wilson is in it. She's the goth he saves.
Oh yeah, that's true. But yeah, that movie was really like, you could tell that one was just like Nick Cage was like, all right, I'll do it as long as I can do whatever I fucking want to. And, so like the whole changing into Ghost Rider for the first time in that movie, where he's just like having a freak out driving down the road. It's so fucking corny and silly, but
I to be honest, I quite like Cage going full Cage in those moments because I
Sure.
think it works. But it does the whole. Both movies are the problem in that they've got great ideas in them, but they don't tie together well, and they're not told well.
It makes me wonder if how challenging a Ghost Rider movie is just in general. Like, is it going to be,
Well, like I said, Gosling's statement that he wants to base it on a particular comic run that he loves, and he's sort of the driving force behind it, means that I think it could be excellent. It just depends which comics he likes.
Well, and then
I
also,
think
so I think you saw this that I was posting about this. Somebody had said, like the way that I found out that this was announced was I happened to go to Blue Sky. I forgot that it was San Diego Comic Con that day. That's how kind of nerd I am these days. And I go in and I see somebody say, Ryan Gosling is cool as Ghost Rider, but like, really, Sean Levy, like, what has he got on people in Hollywood that he keeps getting work or something? And I was like, what? And I verified that was even true, first of all. And then I was like, what? Did you look at the movies he's made? I mean, look, I'm not like a Sean Levy fucking stan or anything. I don't even disagree. The guy ended up saying he thinks he doesn't really have a voice that's his own, and he kind of, and I kind of, like I told him, I don't really see it that reductively, but I do think he makes movies that are designed to appeal to mass audiences, and that's why they make money, and that's why they hired him. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's a weird complaint because I would say like maybe 99% of directors throughout Hollywood history don't have their own voice, excluding the very early days where they were sort of voice driven.
Well, I mean,
Like,
when the movie calls for, let's say the movie is Deadpool Wolverine, the movie calls for it to be Deadpool funny, that we recognize as Deadpool being funny, which is really just mostly driven by Ryan Reynolds. And then also this one needed to have what we recognize as Wolverine, have some pathos, have some trauma, have some, and then some we wanted it to be rated R and have, so like there's very specific template already in place that you're gonna have to do. You know what I mean? No matter who you are. So like having his voice is that he's able to come onto a project and execute it with what the project calls for, right? At least for the most part. I even kind of like that one silly movie on Netflix that time. What was it? The one where Ryan Reynolds goes to meets his kid self or whatever from the future.
oh, there's so many of these Netflix films.
I mean, it's a Netflix film in that it is completely kind of just like barely more than superficial level of anything, but it was entertaining enough. But yeah, let's see, what is this about? Have you heard this new thing about Star Wars Theory paying YouTube for ads with Star Wars Explains name in it when he first started his channel? I mean,
I think we knew that. I
I
saw somebody posted that information. I'm like, well, that's
feel like,
known.
have you emailed me? I think you've emailed me, right? Like, because I think you've emailed me this. And I mean, first of all, if I would need to see that there's some kind of direct evidence of this, and in that case, yeah, talk about it. But like, I don't know that that's gonna have some kind of like silver bullet effect that you may be wanting it to. Unfortunately, that's just where we're at.
I'm sure the last time Star Wars Theory did something really stupid publicly that this was all litigated because he's talked openly about it, and like, yeah, he ran ads when he first launched his channel. The growth wasn't organic, but then it so really is for a lot of channels. And there's nothing wrong with running ads for your own channel.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, if he was using somebody else's, I mean, look, I'll say this. I don't even know if that's even that big a deal because what I've done, and I'm sure the other guys that have talked about the chuds we talked about have done. Of course, it's a little bit different, I guess, but like because they were the subjects, I won't say targets, but the subjects of a lot of our content, I at different points included chud name channel names in my tags and stuff, in my channel tags, not even just my video tags, but like my channel tags, because that's the algorithm I was trying to get into. That's the audience I'm trying to somewhat appeal to, or at least break through to. And so it makes sense to do that. I don't think it's underhanded because they are the subject of the content that I was making. So now if he was,
Eric's, just to say, Eric's been quite open that his Eric's Debunks channel is aimed to capture the same audience that the Chuds go after by thumbnail design and stuff.
Okay, so he made an advertisement and said that his channel name was Star Wars Explained. What are you saying happened? Because if you're just saying that he made an ad and the tags that were included in the targeting of that ad were included Star Wars Explained, I mean, it's weird in the sense that it's not like he, at one point anyway, didn't talk about them, from what I understand. If he was just doing it, even though he didn't mention them ever, he never was friendly to them or anything, it's kind of underhanded for sure. But I mean, what are we going to do? What are we trying to get him arrested? I don't know, man. I don't know what the point is at this point. Like he's kind of too big for something like that to matter to his audience. The people that are still with him, you got to think of this. If you're trying to make people think that he sucks and that he's a bad guy, anybody that's still on board with him doesn't care about that. Anybody that's still a fan of Star Wars theory is okay with the fact that he's kind of a shitbag. They probably even champion him for it. That's just how it is. So I mean, it's something I had to eventually come to when I'm talking about these guys, is that you can't appeal to morality with people who don't, I don't want to say don't have any, but they definitely don't have the same one that I do.
I've just had a quick check on what it, because I had seen the thumbnail. Basically, one of his YouTube ads, I don't know about any others, but basically it's a YouTube ad that says, "Who was Yoda's master?" ? Then it says Star Wars Explained, and then it's the link to his channel. So he's not using the channel Star Wars Explained. He's using the expression that he's explaining Star Wars, which there's much worse stuff that he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, he's selling Star Wars. He's selling lightsabers.
That's what I was going to say. It's like basically that whole lightsaber thing is it's not shady because he's doing it out in the open, but it is like, it's just kind of, it just reveals, in the same way that Critical Drinker's shitty movies and his shitty books, and then Mahler's shitty movie and shitty, like all this stuff, it just reveals these guys don't actually have any talent of their own. So they have to, make a name for themselves by shitting on, popular IP. And then they try to, do some kind of grift on top of that. And I guess to that extent, he's been, I don't know how successful he is with that, actually. I don't know. I guess it's made him some money, the Theories Sabers thing, but like, I don't know. I don't know.
I think they're expensive, but cheaper than the Star Wars official ones. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's able to. I guess because he doesn't call them lightsabers.
Yeah,
but that's really, So in that way, it is just doing capitalism in the most, kind of underhanded way, where it's not technically illegal. Because if it was, I'm pretty confident Lucasfilm would have shut it down already. But it's just, he's figured out all the ways to do it, and that's what all these guys do, right? That's what their content is. They you know what? I want to bring this up because I saw this comment on Reddit the other day. I was like, holy shit, that's really good, really smart. It was in this will pivot into the Chud discourse, but like in the whole context of the Odyssey and how that's all played out with these Chuds, and how they've continued to just expose themselves for being dipshits, to the point where now they're latching themselves onto a feminist and what she says about a movie. It was essentially, from what I understand, is summarized as it's not woke enough, and they think they agree with that. I don't know. But what it really is they're just so desperate to reclaim some type of narrative that doesn't make them look terrible, that they're just grabbing onto anything, and it just makes them look terrible. I've literally never seen them, like I've seen many, many videos talking about this, and not just in the people that normally talk about this, not just our immediate, group of folks. Those people generally covered it, but like I'm talking Philip DeFranco on his podcast talked about this and how they fucked it up, how they fucked up their grift on this one, and they called it wrong, and then it's been exposed for everybody to see. Everybody's seeing this stuff. That's why they're doing this. If you're not aware, they escaped their typical, reach with this one. They got covered a lot, and then the failure of how they called the Odyssey, and Not only that, did you see what happened with Drinker and Roper, Richard Roper?
Yes, yeah, I saw that.
It's so fucking funny how, but we'll get there. I just want to find this one comment real quick because it's something I hadn't really thought about like this before. So I was reading some Reddit post about it, and in the comments, this person said about chuds. Let me find it here. Essentially, that they, yeah, here we go. Talking about, so as I've said before, and I'm not the first person to say this, I think I stole this from somebody. A large portion of racism in action, right, is not just somebody being racist directly to somebody else, or about a lot of what racism is, in practice, is people trying to pretend like racism doesn't exist, or that racism isn't a big deal, or that whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's what a lot of it, if you really pay attention, that's what you see a lot. And that's what these chuds do. That's what a lot of their content is doing. They're, whether they're deflecting their own racism or just in general trying to, say that, or in fact, acting like white people are so oppressed or whatever these days is a version of that. That's what a lot of racism in practice is. And then there's, a section of it that is also the openly, brazenly terrible, shitty, gross racism. But this helped me. I think this is true. Tell me what you guys think. But it says one thing the civil rights movement did was made being labeled a racist makes somebody into a bad person. Essentially, they're seen as a bad person. That's why Drinker and his ilk always work one layer removed from racism. Instead, they used historical accuracy, woke, DEI hire, so that when someone calls their racist views racism, they get angry because a racist is a bad person. Since they think they are good people, they also think that they must not be racist, and what they said can't be racist. It's really fascinating / discussing how they accept that racism is bad, but refuse to change their racist views. Does that ring kind of, is there anything there? I mean, obviously we're talking about several people at once here, and it's probably different amongst different ones, you know what I mean? Like, I think some of them probably are perfectly fine with being racist, and they just they do the tongue-in-cheek, pretend that they're not, kind of thing.
I think that the ones who realize that there's monetary loss to admit being a racist, those are the ones that. So yeah, it's a mixture of all that.
But I think,
and of course, some of them are just playing the grift. So
I think me and you both listened to we found that one. I think you found it actually a while back. There was a Nerdrotic stream from like when Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out. You know what I'm talking about? And they were basically talking about you could literally tell that they were having a conversation. They weren't trying to present some argument to us or anything, but they were talking with their audience about how essentially the civil rights movement effectively ended racism. You know what I mean? Like that's actually how they seem to see it, which is fucking bizarre. But you know what I mean? No.
Yeah. It rings a faint bell, but I mean,
well,
one of those many. We've covered so much.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of shit.
But yeah, I mean,
sorry to sidetrack real quick. I just was like, what's up, Tony? How's it going, man? Is this you? Is you in these DMs here? I think so. Yeah. I think it's you. Oh man. Pretty cringe, bro. Yeah.
History of people quitting his podcasts. Interesting to throw accusation to throw at somebody. Considering
has a history of people quitting his podcasts for being a bad person. Name one.
Yeah.
Name one. Oh yeah, I am Spooky. He's a chud. He's really one of the more pathetic ones. He's actually been on the stream one time, and me and Chariot and Bob Chaos and Eric DeBunks, we kind of just dismantled his entire dumb claim that he was making at the time, and he walked it all back by the end of it. But he still wants to come around every once in a while and like, I don't know. No, that's not what happened. I mean, I understand you have a problem with reality and facts and also oral hygiene, but that's not what happened. You know, nobody quit because I was a bad person. So there you go.
Tony, how is Katie? Did she still streaming with you guys? You used to be tight. What happened to that?
Yeah.
So
You still friends with EVS or what? He's still cool with you? Are you still the heir du jour of Comicsgate? The Chicano Stan Lee. Fuck out of here, dude. Like, I mean, I guess he feels like he's got to show up every once in a while and like take another swipe at me or something like that, but it doesn't, you know, I don't know. I don't know what it does for him.
yeah.
Anyway. So like, yeah, about the Odyssey thing, that's what I think a lot of people that you know, we've talked about before, that like outside of our immediate bubble of people that kind of like are concerned about these guys, or maybe used to be more concerned about them, a lot of people just ignore them. Mainstream people ignore them. So they didn't, you know, whether they were doing well like they were several years ago, or they started doing worse in the last couple of years with their content, people just didn't know at all. And I would have a lot of people tell me, you know, just don't even talk about them. You're just giving them the oxygen they want or whatever. And it's like, okay, man, but like when nobody was talking about them, they grew the most. You know what I mean? Like in the period that there was really hardly anybody pushing back at them on YouTube, they started doing really well for themselves. And then you start.
Yeah, well, there's the expression "sunlight is the best disinfectant," and in some cases that is true. And what happened here is they got mass exposure thanks to Daddy Musk proliferating their stupid theory. And if Musk hadn't spread these rumors, most people it never would have broken containment, and they would have just walked away from it like they walked away from every other one of their bad predictions. Or they would have tried to do what they did with Captain Marvel and say, oh, Universal, which some of them have done, Universal are buying seats, the audience score is manipulated, the critic score is bought, all the stuff that several of their smaller orbiters are doing. They would have done that, and then they would have walked away.
I want to introduce you guys to what I think is probably the Critical Drinker's #1 tactic, and it's very much on display here, and that is hedging. We've joked about it before because he's got video titles like about Into the Spider-Verse. It's like, or Across Spider-Verse rather. It's you know, a flawed masterpiece, which is, you know, that's not even like that egregious. I can see myself saying that about some movies. You know what I mean? But like that's how a lot of anytime it's a movie that is just very well liked by the general public to the point where if he were to shit on it entirely, it would look bad for him, because that's part of his whole thing, is being the kind of foot in the door for a lot of, you know, casuals. Like Nerdrotic can go harder on stuff. You know what I mean? He can like just outwardly make fun of it and do racist thumbnails and stuff like that. Drinker doesn't do that shit. His a little bit more subtle, right? So if you're not really looking for it, you might not, I guess, see what he's doing. Drinker, you have to take his stuff in totality and look at the patterns of it, right? But nonetheless, so he'll do those types of titles, or for instance, I love this. I see this, the image, that graphic I made years ago. I still see it posted around in the wild, where he changed the title of the House of the Dragons trailer review or whatever, as well as the one I made about Prey. Whenever he first, but both of those examples, he covered the trailer, just a review of the trailer. It was like basically some very dismissive, this is going to be shit kind of title, and then the thing comes out. And people like it, everybody's talking about it, and he goes and retroactively changes the title of that video. You know what I mean? So that to me reveals what his whole, he recognizes his purpose, his thing is to be the you know, the entryway for casuals. And so right here I've got another example. This is from before Odyssey came out, which is what's really killing him, is all the ways they talked about it before it came out. So this is the Odyssey trailer. This is the one I believe that got the massive downvotes or whatever. Oh dear. Christopher Nolan's Odyssey hasn't had the best week, and the latest trailer getting ratioed to oblivion. And I think I know why. Let's find out. Okay, and then make sure I have the right ones in order here. Yeah, so I've got then the little bit of transcript from the video itself, so we don't have to listen to him. I've never seen anything like this on a Christopher Nolan movie. Make no mistake, this is more than just a few curmudgeons on the internet fight a culture.
Yeah, Sorry, it's supposed to be curmudgeons.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's the
This is more than just a few curmudgeons on the internet fighting a culture war. Wow, is it? Okay. This is a mainstream, widespread backlash against this movie. Whoa. This is the kind of storm I haven't seen since Snow White. Wow, that's mighty claim. I hope he doesn't like go completely the other direction a few sentences from now.
well, just to contextualize that before you go on.
Yeah.
The Snow White thing wasn't a big deal. People decided not to go see the movie because they didn't want to go see the movie, and so they didn't see it, and it was a flop.
Yep.
There was the only storm again was created in their bubble. So if you're in that bubble and you're like, wow, the Snow White thing was massive. Elon Musk did not go on a Twitter rant before, during, and after the release of this film about how bad Snow White was, is, and is going to be. That didn't happen. It never breached containment, really. It was covered on really in a non-serious way by the news organizations that covered it.
That's what's really been failing them lately, is that they've relied so much on saying that something is that something's going to be bad, and then when it ends up not being well liked for reasons that have almost nothing to do with the shit they say, they claim victory, right? So like Snow White was that, like, nobody really cared about Snow White and had nothing to do with what Rachel fucking Zegler said on the whatever, unless you happen to be poisoned by their content. But like, what's interesting here is that he's trying to tie them together, which I think was also a big mistake. He got a little too full of himself here. He's like, I want you to think of my dumb audience that doesn't think past the end of their nose. I want you to think about the Odyssey the same way that we thought about. Remember Snow White and how we mocked it and how we laughed at it and how terrible it was going to be? Same thing, audience. Just absorb that and think of it that way. I don't think it worked. So that was let's see the time. That was almost 2 minutes in. Then go to 7:40. Though maybe this backlash, for all its noise, is just confined to the internet, and the normies out there couldn't give a shit about any of these casting controversies. What? Hold on. This is a mainstream widespread backlash against this movie. I mean, Christopher Nolan is one of the few star directors out there who can sell tickets on his name alone, so I definitely wouldn't count him out with this one. Is it going to reach Oppenheimer levels of success? Probably not.
Once again, the critical
alert.
predictor comes in, guns blazing there.
Yeah, it did. It has. It's already outpacing Oppenheimer. Probably not, but I do think it'll turn a healthy profit. And what the hell? Maybe he'll surprise us all and create a genuine masterpiece with the Odyssey.
Guess what? They were never going to like this film, despite them claiming back and forth now that, oh no, we all watched the film because we had to watch it to give it a fair review. They didn't have to watch it because they were never going to give it a fair review.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. I've got this weird little feeling that he might have gone a bridge too far with this one. Either way, we'll find out in a couple of weeks. Fucking Christ. Have you ever seen such pathetic, desperate hedging that even though he hedged, it still didn't work out? And that's what people are calling him out for. And he's trying to pretend like he did, because he did say both things. He said it could work out. And it's also this backlash is going to make it fail miserably. So like, when you go to those extremes, though, you can't really claim a victory no matter what happens. I mean,
well, let's just break it down. In this short segment, he claims that it's gonna fail like Snow White did. It's might just be all internet talk. It might do okay. It might be somewhere less successful than Oppenheimer, and it might be brilliant. Covering all your bases there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's almost like he understands that movies are subjective and that some people might like something and others might not. And yet his entire purpose on the internet is to try to convince everyone to think the same way about stuff.
And actually, I misspoke there. He wasn't covering all his bases because he didn't make the one prediction that was actually true, that it was a monster hit for Nolan.
Yeah, true.
That it's probably going to sail to $1 billion, and
well,
he was never going to like it.
it's going to have to make a $1.5 billion just to break even. I've seen somebody say so. You know,
Yep, that magic math coming in again.
there it is. That's all they really got that they can fall back on these days.
And I mean, the difference with this compared to, say, a superhero property is that they're not selling Odyssey T-shirts, they're not selling Odyssey toys. Well, they probably are, and they are doing the popcorn buckets again. But the merchandising money for this film isn't as strong as any superhero film.
True.
So, but there's also the deals now. The streaming deals are going to be huge. It's going to make a fortune on streaming, on premium streaming.
I imagine
because
that's where I'm going to have to see it, so,
well, yeah, not just because of how popular it is, but because Universal streaming service is less prominent than probably all the others. I would say it's probably the least prominent one for film.
Is that right? Is that right? Huh. It's interesting. I mean, I've never really. I mean, I've maybe read a couple of Vault comics, but I mean, I hear that they've got some good stuff, but that is kind of unfortunate. I wonder if they are aware of his full bibliography, because he he co-wrote, I believe. I don't remember if he wrote the Clinton Cash with Dixon, or if he wrote the thing about Baked Alaska, or whatever the fuck it was, or the whatever that fucking shud from, I don't know. That's old history there. But find looking for some stuff here. I don't know if I have any of this stuff downloaded about the Roper thing, but that one's pretty good. We should cover that, because holy shit, Nerdrotic and Drinker they can't help but keep stepping in it, and it's like, guys, just move on. You're not gonna claw your way into some kind of victory, but I don't think they're doing that for that reason anymore. I think they're just doing it to maybe spare their own ego, or to spare some audience that they fear they might be losing. I don't know.
Yeah, this feels different to all the previous, like I said, all the previous successes where they've just sort of pretended that they never made a big stink.
I mean, if they could get past the Captain Marvel, of it all, the whole year of saying it was going to flop before it made over $1 billion, if they could somehow, roll that off their backs, then they should be fine with this. But they just can't fucking let it go.
And I think the other thing is, though, the more Odyssey videos they pump out now, the more people that are going to watch them who are genuinely interested in the Odyssey and think it was a good film, and those people might switch off pretty quickly.
That's hell for their metrics too.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the level of cope on display from them, I've never seen this from them. They've never been this wrong, and it's just, well, it's delicious to watch, because they are coming up with every excuse. They have tried the excuse that, the Rotten Tomatoes score is all messed up, and has been ever since they demanded that people prove that they've seen the film. How dare they?
Okay, so Richard Roper, or I guess, I don't know if it's confirmed to have been him or somebody that works on his social media or something, but like, nonetheless, they made themselves look really silly here, but they refuse to acknowledge this fact. And they're throwing their own fans under the bus. That's for one thing. They've threw their own fan under the bus who was responsible for the initial post, and then fans, of theirs that challenged them, they've continued to, throw them under the bus. It's just, so there was a post on Critical Drinker subreddit, r/Critical Drinker, that says, well, I'll show you. The Odyssey's box office is set to drop for the second weekend as negative word of mouth spreads. What? Yeah, all that negative word of mouth that we're all hearing, right? Everybody's heard that. Right now, there are a lot of stories about how the Odyssey is set to have a massive second weekend. What these stories are not telling you is that they're actually expecting a drop in numbers this weekend. Now, anybody that follows movies because they like movies and want to understand the way that they, things work, knows how silly it is to say this. Because I mean, it's more notable to make comment on whenever a movie doesn't have a massive drop, because it's so common that it's just expected. What's expected is that most movies are going to have a massive drop second weekend, because what? Because they all play up the fucking opening weekend. That's where they want to make all their money. That's where most movies.
And this is something, just because we're old, that has been going on for about 25 years.
Yeah,
It
quite
used
well.
to be the case, sort of probably pre-2000s, that a movie would open and sometimes and basically they weren't banking everything on opening weekend.
And then as
then
the blockbuster became the thing that became, much more the focus, and then Marvel really, probably honestly took it to its grave. With the way that they emphasized opening weekends and the sorry, what's it called? FOMO of not going opening weekend, which I definitely used to feel quite a bit. But yeah, so commenting on that and being like that about this movie, it kind of just reveals right out of the gate that you have some type of bone to pick with this movie. And so anyway, he said he saw, he starts going into numbers and stuff. I don't even know if anything this person says is true, but
turned out not to be true. I think that the drop was about 28%, which is phenomenal.
That's pretty fucking good. Like, I mean, Spider-Man movies, which make $1 billion, they see like 67% drops and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's pretty. If you don't know what's going on and you just hear that, which they're counting on, they count on this stuff. Their videos, whenever, I think they did that with Spider-Man No Way Home, where it was like, oh, this $1 billion movie or whatever, it turned out to be $1 billion movie, but its second weekend it had like a 64% drop. Oh my god! But a 64% drop from the kind of numbers that a movie like that does opening weekend, it's still number one. You know what I mean? Anyway, so Richard Roper, or someone working on his social media, I'm not sure. If you're not familiar with who he is who critical drinkers should pay reverence to. He is, if he was actually a reviewer, but he's not. If he was actually a critic, if he actually cared about films and cared about the craft and cared about the industry, and he would pay respect to this man. But of course, that's not what he's about, so he doesn't do that. But he says he posted this screenshot of this post on r/critical drinker and said, "You're saying this movie is actually going to see a box office decline over time, like it will make more when it opens than in a subsequent weeks? I've been doing this for 35 years and I've never seen such a thing." So it probably is Roper, I guess. What a disaster for Nolan. He'll never make another film, with laughing emojis. So yeah, really kind of shit on there. And this also goes to, I'll get to it in a minute, but this too goes to serve the point of what I've talked about before, which is the content that they were making about this prior to the movie coming out. A lot of it was focused on the down votes of the trailer, and every thumbnail had like down thumbnails in it and stuff, like, down thumbs or whatever, thumbs down, sorry. And it was just a lot of that. And then they're talking about how they, like, it's very obvious that their focus is not even really on the movie as much as just making people believe that the movie is not good and it's not doing well. You know what I mean?
And as we've pointed out several times, and people like the Birdman have made videos on, anyone that is a YouTuber who has ever received downvotes knows that those plugins that they use to give you the downvotes are wrong, sometimes off by a big margin. So that's the first thing. So the fact that these YouTubers know that that plugin is wrong, because they can check their own metrics against what the downvote app says, and they can see that it's wrong, they know it's wrong. So when they say downvotes, any YouTuber that says downvotes are this much, they're lying. They're just lying.
Yep. So yeah, it's worth asking yourself why somebody would be so dedicated to pushing that kind of narrative that they're just going to lie about the numbers and focus on the meta conversation around the movie being a negative thing more than the movie itself in some cases. So Nerdrotic reposted this and said, Richard Roper, respected movie critic from RogerEbert.com, the man trusted to break down the subtleties of cinema, couldn't tell that this is a Reddit post from Checks Notes u/byte individual 7057. And then hold on, but what is he talking about? Because where does it say that he thinks it's anybody in particular?
Yeah,
it doesn't. It does not say that. Oh, this critical drinker said this. he could literally be, he could know exactly that it's not him and this. So, I mean, but at the same time, it is entirely possible that somebody looks at that and doesn't understand the format of Reddit and thinks that that is critical drinker posting. I've just like in passing casually, you know, thankfully I don't think I've ever made that error out loud, but I've just, when I'm looking at something, I made the mistake and then realized a minute later, like, oh, that's not, you know what I mean? But even if so, okay, what is this? What the fuck is he talking about? That like he's trusted to break down the subtle. There's lots of people that are trusted to do that. If you choose to trust them, you fucking dipshit. You know, that's just, that betrays a resentment of what Roper does.
I think it's ego as well, though. Nerdrotic is so sure that the critical drinker is on Richard Roper's radar that Richard Roper must know who the critical drinker is,
Well,
because
so
he's such.
Keith,
And so that this isn't a dunk on the comment, which I read it as, this guy saw this stupid comment, Richard Roper saw this stupid comment and thought, I'm gonna have a little fun with it because it's misinformation, it's wrong, it's dumb, and it doesn't matter who posted it. It's not intended to be a dunk on the critical drinker,
you
because
know
I'd
what?
be surprised if
All of the response to this stuff, you know what nobody's saying? No, not him, not Nerdrotic, not Drinker. None of them are arguing with what was said. That, I think that's intentional. I think it's very intentional that the whole point is to, you know, and I want everybody watching this to remember this going forward. You know, it's one of the reasons I've kind of over time just not covered these guys like I used to, because to some degree they want you to focus on, they're doing the jangling keys thing, and it's really easy to fall for it because they know, generally, especially a guy like Nerdrotic or Drinker, they know how to jangle the keys in the right way to get average, decent people, you know, who care about things, who care about facts, who care about other people, who care about the film industry stuff. They know how to get you focused on something that isn't really the point, because the point should be, here, you motherfuckers aren't even addressing that he's right. He's calling this shit out, and y'all, because they make content on the same narrative all the time. You know what I mean? They make content saying, oh, it's doing the second weekend drop or whatever, and their fans eat it up because they don't know any better. But anyway,
yeah, and I would say just the last thing on that is, if your audience is that stupid that they would post something like this because they don't know that all films, pretty much with the exception of very few times, like Obsession was one. I mean, you got to go back to things like The Matrix and The Sixth Sense, I think, which Sixth Sense definitely, maybe The Matrix had a bigger second weekend, but it's very rare.
yeah.
It's films that come out of nowhere, not films like this. So if your audience is that stupid that they believe that a second week drop of any kind is a massive hit,
Yeah.
then you're not educating your audience. You are training them. You're not teaching them.
Well, I mean, almost by its nature of being a big second week drop, it's almost implicitly saying that it did well opening weekend.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So like in that way, it's a bit of an admission too when you really think about it. But nonetheless, so this guy Keith Garlington or whatever, who's a Tomato Meter approved critic here, said, you know, where did he even mention Drinker? You guys are struggling. And then Nerdrotic, this is where it gets really fucking pathetic, honestly. Like this is I'm kind of embarrassed for him, but you know, whatever, fuck him. You really think they would have posted this and then deleted it if Drinker's name wasn't on top? Please tell me you do not vote or drive. You are a danger to society. What? I'm a danger? Wow, what a deep cut from the weird phony internet guy whose lone claim to fame is drumming up outrage for clicks on his YouTube channel. I'm just devastated. And then this guy makes a good point here. You didn't answer the question. Where in the post does it show Roper is directly talking to Drinker? Deleting a post isn't an indication that Roper was talking to Drinker. By your logic, is Critical Drinker guilty because he blocked me instead of responding? He's got a block there. Deleting the post is indeed an indication he or whoever runs this account was talking about Drinker. No, it isn't. You fucking goddamn it. Yeah, it's actually a very weird argument to have over whether the journo knew who he was responding to rather than the merits of the arguments being made. Thank you. I really doubt George Roper even knows who Critical Drinker even is. look, I mean, it's kind of funny that I mean, I know that's not showing me all replies, but the ones that it's showing me are, yeah, kind of shitting on them. Who the fuck is Critical Drinker? And then, you know, we don't need to bring the slurs into it. I know that coming from me, that's fancy, but you know, just try to not use it. I just didn't use it a minute ago when I wanted to. So there you go. It can be done.
Because I did see adjacent to this somebody not of Richard Roper's stature, but I've been recommended, and I've watched a couple of his videos, and I don't know what to make of him. But there's a guy who basically has the energy of, I don't even know he's very high energy anyway, about how much he hates the chuds. He's definitely very positive about himself, but he made the same basic point that Roper did, and Nerdrotic made the same reply, and because he does know who the chuds are, he said, yeah, of course I know that it wasn't Critical Drinker, it was one of his peons, or some words to that effect. So Nerdrotic's really been doing the rounds, protecting his big money daddy on this one.
So, of course, Geeks and Gamers, they're going to cover it in favor of these idiots. And then just
despite apparently giving the film a positive review, so maybe Griggs has changed his mind again.
So many of some. I mean, he's probably trying to buy back some. I don't know if you call it goodwill from their audience. I don't know if they're capable of that, but whatever will they have. Did you see the comments replying to both Jeremy Johns and then also Jeremy Griggs and their reviews of it? Because it's wild.
I think I did.
I'm going to show them real quick just in case. So if you guys aren't aware of what it's like to be in those communities, just be glad that you're not in that. If you've been in them, thank you. You know, I'm glad, proud of you, happy that you got out of there. Good job. Because this shit straight up is cultish. It is cult behavior. So here is the thing is, I don't know which one's which. So maybe we can tell if we look at them close enough. But these are comments. One of them's from Jeremy Johns. One of them's from Jeremy Griggs. Both of them gave, you know, fair to positive, you know, review of the movie. Sponsor Seals now shilling the power of money. If it's woke, I don't watch. So Helen of Detroit got more screen time than all the Greeks combined. Nolan fanboy. Grounded realism is when there is an Indian man or white woman or playing ancient Greek warriors, or a black woman is Helen of Troy. Most of the comments below are hostile to either Nolan or this channel. Well, yeah. So Jeremy, blink twice if you're in danger. Still not watching the woke slop. You glazing John Loogie, the massive talentless hip. Like, this is just fucking cult shit. You know, paid shill. Literally, that's why this podcast is called what it is, because, you know, this is the kind of shit we've heard over and over again just by saying, even if we weren't even saying that we like something. That's what's crazy. That's why it's so fucking cultish, and obviously cultish. It's not based in rationality at all, because we could be saying, hey, you haven't seen the movie yet. It might be good. You don't know. And they will get called a shill for that. It's like, we're not saying it is good. Go see it. You know, just saying realistically, logically, you can't know whether it's good or not. You just can't. I thought Batman versus Superman was going to be the best fucking movie ever based on the trailers. I seriously did. I was like, holy shit, this looks like everything. Spoiler alert. It's not the shit, it's just shit.
And here's the other thing. Until you've seen it, you can't decide whether you like it or not. And if you like it or not, everybody else might still hate it. But if you like it, it's all that matters.
So, I mean, I don't know. I hope maybe somebody has already done this, kind of from breaking it down from beginning to end of the whole Odyssey, I guess you could say, in that they have revealed everything about, you know, their way they do things and how they operate and how dishonest they are. It's all there if you look. So the the racism disguised as, you know, like claims of historical accuracy or whatever, when it's like, okay, there's so many things that prove that to be bullshit. Any reasonable person that wasn't actually either grifting or operating based in bigotry would go, oh yeah, that's right, there's no actual Greeks either. Oh yeah, you know, it is not really based in history at all anyway. Those should be, those 2 points right there should be enough for any reasonable person that's not operating from fucking bigotry to if they did have those notions at any point, they should go, oh yeah, you're right, that fuck, silly me, I should have thought about that. And that would be it, you know. But they're not operating based on rationality or anything like that. So there's that. And then there's the fact they said it was going to be terrible. The fact they were wrong about who Elliot Page was playing. They apparently were right about who Lupita Nyong'o was playing, but you know,
Well, half right.
Well, you're right, yeah. Then the fact that it just was is apparently an incredible film, which I also leave room for the fact that I might not like it. I haven't seen it.
You might not. And here's the thing: I wouldn't fault anybody for not liking it, because not a divisive film in essence, but I can see somebody just not vibing with it. But the claims that they've made, oh, it's boring, or the acting's bad, oh, they didn't like the fact that they all had American accents. I mean, some of the complaints about it. On his stream last night, Ant covered Shad's reaction to it, and geez, what a moron. Shad, not Ant. Shad's complaint was that it was anti-men because it showed somebody suffering the effects of going to war even though they won, which is bizarre. I'm not going to say anything else he said because this is sort of spoilery, but one of the people on his panel, I can't remember which one it was, but he said that he didn't like the fact that everybody was doing their own American accents. And it's like, well, they're not.
The way they used to do it for the longest time, which I'm glad we're breaking out of that actually, is just a vague kind of transatlantic British kind of accent that people would do.
His actual wording was that it was lazy, and I'm like, it was not lazy because half the cast are not American. So they're half the cast are actually doing American accents.
I've watched some clips with Tom Holland talking about his challenges, and you know, he's doing better now, but like at first he's really struggled doing American accent. And it was, what's funny, by the way, is that somebody asked him what the hardest thing for him to say in English is, I mean American accent rather, is Spider-Man. It's pretty funny.
And he does do a different. He does do a different accent. He's got a little bit more.
Yeah, but he says dad. He said dad. Why would he say dad? Well, they wouldn't say father either. You know what I mean? But that's what they're wanting. That because that's, you know, look, we all were raised on you know period pieces and epics and stuff that use that kind of accent just like as a shorthand, almost as like this is the way they're conveying it to a modern audience. Hey, there's that term.
Yeah, and it was basically, my feeling was that anything made set in sort of olden times, they wanted to sort of evoke Shakespeare. So that's why it was the standard British. But even then,
Thor, you look like especially earlier in the Marvel universe, he fucking speaks like he's in Shakespeare because he was literally directed by Kenneth Branagh, and who's, you know, Shakespeare guy.
But even then, if you think about it, Clash of the Titans, for example, Burgess Meredith is not doing a British accent in it.
I haven't seen it so long, I don't even remember what his performance is like. So,
well, he just does his own voice. It's that simple.
Which is not the Penguin's voice, right? Or
it sort of is.
Okay, I only remember the Penguin's voice. I don't remember him in anything else. Really. No, I guess in Rocky.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Penguin voice. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically his voice, sort of slightly gruff, sort of slightly high pitched. But the American.
Is this something did this break the realism for you, Robert? I'm sorry if you're not being hostile to what we're saying. I'm just kind of goofing off here. But like, did you have a hard time with it? Were you having a hard time believing in the Cyclops?
fact of the matter is, as well, is if they genuinely wanted this to be authentic, and I did Greek theatre when I did my
Oh shit, didn't know that.
I studied a little bit of Greek theatre. Then there wouldn't have been any actors speaking. There would have been a chorus which narrated the poem. Basically, Greek theatre, because it was a big arena and the people at the back wouldn't be able to hear you. It was all done for the people, for the whole audience, basically. So the actors portraying the characters would have these huge masks that were recognizable to the characters they're playing. So Zeus always looked like Zeus, etc. They'd wear big stilts or big shoes, basically, so that they were taller, and they wouldn't speak. They would act out, sort of pantomime the actions, while the chorus, sort of a choir, would basically recite the poem.
Huh.
And that's how Greek theatre was done. And
Yeah, I
so
mean,
they don't want it that authentic.
The Odyssey was a poem. When you come down to it, I mean, it's not. I don't think anything resembling a poem that we would recognize as a poem these days. But like, that's what it was at the time, and it's just there's so many ways to just show how dishonest they are about this shit. But like, so anyway, going to the response and everything, then you see them, coping and trying to and moving goalposts, and everybody sees it. Just it's ridiculous. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and they still are claiming that they have problems with Elliot Page and Lupita Nyong'o's casting, and even like that one comment we saw in those YouTube comments about the Indian guy. Himesh Patel is from Cambridgeshire, whereas Charlize Theron was from South Africa. So if you want to talk about actors portraying characters not from the countries they were, why not bring her up? She's South African. He's British. He's as British as Tom Holland.
Well, so this actually is a good point to pivot to another topic that I wasn't sure if we would talk about, but I mean, we might as well. And this is what I'm wondering if we can get ahead of some Chud narrative with this. They might not go with this because it's not. They'd have to. I don't know. Feel like they'd have to kind of walk a line with this, but there's some kerfuffle has come up about the casting of new Black Panther. Have you seen any of this?
I haven't. No.
So,
generally, I've seen just positive things because he's a good actor.
Well, it's a small group of people, and they're not people to be really taken too seriously. But there are people who are apparently upset that Black Panther T'Challa, or T'Challa Jr. rather, will be played by a British black man rather than an American one, which I did not know. I didn't realize that there was any kind of like, and I'm certain it's not like all British black people think this about all American black people or whatever. I'm sure that that's not the case, but there is a group apparently of first of all, I guess they're Americans who are frustrated because well, you know what? I've got a video on it that is going to speak to it better than I can. Won't have to try to approach a perspective that is not anything like mine at all. So let me find that real quick. But what the fuck? I mean, hey man, if that's what you're into. The idea is probably that Odysseus and his men aren't meant to be Greeks or anymore. After the sacking of Troy, they lost their way, an echo to insomnia. Oh, fair enough. You see, look, that's what you call having a good faith, like extending a little goodwill to a movie and to actually put a little thought and effort into, because you want to like something, right? So you kind of, and I mean, I know that there are people that frame it as like, if the movie doesn't literally do it for you, then it doesn't count. I don't necessarily agree with that in every case. I think there are some ways that it's actually fun. If the overall movie is really well done, and I want to like the movie, then I will give a little bit more effort to kind of fill in some blanks or whatever to make it connect more or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, personally, my interpretation when I saw it was that they're from a different part of Greece, because I don't know if you know this about like France, or I think even Germany, is that French wasn't the language of France. It was individual to each sort of place. and the French have done sort of mad government things to make sure that there is only one French language because there were so many variations. So I just thought it was somebody from a different island who spoke a local dialect, like we see in so many different countries,
So
of the older countries.
this
But
is
I like that interpretation.
yeah, I know, right? This is literally like kind of one of the responses, right? But so you know, I'm not one to sit here and say that African Americans don't have some valid feelings behind a grievance like this. I don't understand it. I definitely don't. Not going to throw my weight behind this kind of thing unless I hear of an argument for it that I can understand a little bit better, maybe. But like, I just don't see it at this point. And then I definitely don't see the response to that from a certain, I guess, subgroup of British people. But this is a video by a channel called Fried Plantain. He typically covers like comedy and stuff like that. I don't know where exactly he's from, but I mean, he's a black guy. I'm not sure where he's from exactly. He's got an accent. I don't know what it is, but he tends to cover things really well, and from almost like a, you know, I normally don't like somebody that covers things like from a very almost detached perspective where they're covering all of the takes and all of the perspectives. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, choose a perspective, but he really does. So like he will cover even the part of it that he disagrees with. He'll cover it pretty fairly and it represent an argument really well, even though he will eventually come down on, you know, whatever his point is. And so, yeah, I just think he's pretty cool for the most part. I don't know anything about him other than the videos I've seen. He might have some kind of problems or something that I don't know about. I don't know, but I'm not vouching for him altogether. I do know that he does have an AI slop opening here, and that's not great. I'll be right back.
This short, ugly British African David Johnson that Hollywood has been trying to force on us for the past few years is going to be the new Black Panther. I hate this. Will not be watching it. Number one, because I am so tired of British Africans taking black roles in Hollywood. I am tired of it. There are so many beautiful, smart, intelligent, talented Black American actors and actresses who get stuck in Tyler Perry land.
I need more.
Oh, Jack Harper Games. I remember you sent me an email one time, man. It was really fucking unhinged and like you kind of just don't make any sense. You like, I don't feel like it's possible to engage with you in reality because I think that you were just far too brain rotten and programmed by far right fucking narratives and stuff like that. I remember you.
I do love the because I've heard this complaint many times. This film is set in a real place. Guess what? So is all of the MCU, with the exception of the fictional countries.
True.
But doesn't matter.
It's based loosely. See that word loosely is doing a lot of work for you there, buddy. Yeah, loosely.
Very loosely,
like
in a real world.
Almost so loosely it's not even hanging on.
Yeah, because all we know is that Troy, or what they think was Troy, was destroyed and rebuilt on several occasions, and one of those occasions might have been this particular war. So the film is set in a real place, like 90% of films, you know.
But we know what, we're done with it. You want to have that argument? Go have it with us about half an hour, 45 minutes ago, where we basically just shut all this shit down. So you're welcome to go back and listen to that and have that argument with our past selves because we've already done it.
I just love that argument because this is what Critical Drinker said when he was on Piers Morgan, and I'm like, geez, most films are set in.
Hold on. So thank you for making the point for us. Thank you. So it doesn't have. There's nothing it can be tied to. You can literally do whatever you want with it. You can do whatever you want with it.
Is it based on a real place, or is it so far back that the geography can't be based on modern sensitivities? Because I'll tell you another thing as well, that Africa is mentioned in the Odyssey, in the poem, and get a map, look at the Mediterranean, and look how close Africa is to Greece.
So if it can't be based on modern sensitivities, it can't be based on your sensitivities of seeing a black person being a hell of a Troy. Do you not understand how you just completely shit on your own fucking point? Thank you, though. I appreciate that. We won't be responding to any cope after this.
American slave, okay?
That struggle.
Yeah, the struggle.
Sort of like the dialogue, like the back and forth banner. Absolutely. I think it's funny, that skit. Do I think it's helpful? I don't think it's helpful.
It feels like everywhere from Hollywood to the political system, everywhere are trying to make British Africans like the face of Black people in America. And my full-blooded foundation.
Listen, welcome to being a superhero fan in America, okay? Because we've been dealing with this shit. Like, we had a Superman, we got a Spider-Man currently, second one in a row, okay? Let's see. I mean, there's
two Batmans, two Batmen, is it? Or two Batmans?
Wait. Yep. I was trying to think of who the other one was. I don't even think of Christian Bale as British because he's got whatever weird, combination accent that he's got.
Depending on when he's being interviewed. Mr. Fantastic. We had the Welsh had a great strike rate going on for a while. We had Mr. Fantastic. We had Batman. It was all looking good. Yeah, two, like you said, two Spider-Men, two Batmen, a Superman.
Anytime somebody just opens up with their point with like Hollywood is doing this thing. I mean, not to say that it's not possible for a Hollywood trend to become a thing and be shitty or harmful or whatever. Like that's possible. It happens. But I immediately get a little bit skeptical these days. You're gonna need to prove something to me once you start out your claim like that. And all he does is essentially kind of what a lot of the takes about this do is seem to appeal to the fact that this guy in their eyes is not as handsome as Chadwick Boseman. But I mean, who is? But I mean, he's a different looking dude. But they say some pretty gross shit about this dude.
Black American self is tired of it.
When you say foundational Black American, it's some type of subgroup or something that's going to just cause confusion. We're talking about a lineage, so it's not something that you can choose to join or quit.
So there are a lot of Black British actors that work
all
in
the
this country.
time,
all the time. So I tend to wonder, what would that movie have been with an American brother who really understands that?
You have not stated any facts, man. So literally all you're doing is coping. Yeah, you're spinning out and just saying you've argued against yourself here. I hope you understand that.
Just pause it a minute there. I just want to concentrate on what Samuel L. Jackson was saying. I believe he was probably making reference to something like Selma, because that's a British actor playing Martin Luther King, and I can kind of see his point to a degree.
That specifically, I think there's more of a leg to stand on. I feel like, but like when it's he didn't downgrade the performance. He just said he would have liked to have seen an American. Exactly. That's a great way to. That's a great way to say something like that too, because you're not taking anything away from anybody.
Whereas this film is not about Americans.
No, not at all. And what he ends up saying in this, and we won't watch the whole thing. I might skip to the end after we get a feel for what the points are here, but this is unnecessary.
In 2018, Wakanda gave Black audiences something that Hollywood had rarely allowed them to imagine on this scale: an African kingdom untouched by slavery, colonialism, or white occupation, a country that did not need saving, a king who did not need permission, and a black.
Reminded me of a incident I had with who T.J. Kirk is, I'm sure. And then he's got this guy. I don't know if he still streams with him all the time, but Paul's Ego. That's kind of his streaming partner. He's a real fucking asshole, curmudgeon-y kind of know-it-all shithead guy. So back when this movie came out, or the first Black Panther, I was watching TJ Kirk quite a bit. He had just kind of begun moving to the left, and it was like kind of interesting to me to see him start to change his positions on things, right? And I remember I would every once in a while I would chat in the chat, and usually nobody responded. It didn't even get noticed or anything. Maybe somebody else in chat would say something, but like otherwise there's a lot of people. So I was just like, whatever. I'd say something now and then. But then this came out. We were talking about it. They were talking about it, and I said something about they were like really fucking being reductive about the fact that Black people were so excited about this movie, and like they're and I was like, dude, what? do you not understand? Like, I can see why this is something that would be special to people, you know, like, and I said something about like, you know, it's because I had been looking into the making of it and what went behind it and stuff, and knowing that they did a lot of like the production design and stuff went a lot into various parts of Africa, and like kind of did created a new kind of composite culture basically out of, you know, actual clothing and other stuff from cultures, various cultures in Africa, to create Wakanda, right? And so I can understand why, because when you think about it, people who were brought here against their will as slaves, that don't even know what their ancestral names are, don't know where their ancestors are from in Africa, because it's actually a pretty big continent. If you didn't know that, there's lots of places in it. You can be from many places in Africa, but they, you know, by and large, don't know. That's got to suck. You know, I'm from a poor family. I always have been, but I at least know where my fucking poor family's from. You know what I mean? It's probably somewhere up around you. I don't know. No, I mean, I know my family comes from Scotland, Ireland, and England generally. But like, so yeah, I can understand why that would be something that, like, you know, I mean, I can't even understand what that's like to have no idea like that. I can, if I was interested in it, I could go look at Irish culture, Scottish culture, and go, oh, that's where I'm from. Neat. I'm just not interested in it. But I did wear a kilt to a wedding one time, so there's that. But yeah, and I said something like that in chat, and they fucking, Paul's ego just fucking flipped out on me. Like, there's not any real culture. There's not any real fucking culture. There's not African culture in there. Like, and I'm just like, he's factually incorrect. You know what I mean? They did a lot of work in the production to represent, you know, various, you know, as much of Africa as they could, basically. And yeah, it really pissed me off, and I stopped watching motherfuckers at that point because I was so fucking pissed off about that shit. And I was like, man, if I ever fucking start live streaming or doing videos or whatever, I'm never gonna crash out on somebody that hard over something I don't know anything about. I've crashed out on some people. I've fucking gone pretty hard at some folks in chat, but I like to think that I've always known what I was saying. Anyway.
Well, TTBN Gaming was covering one of the cult videos, and he made the point that Black Panther was the first big box office black movie since coming to America, which was like 89. This was the first cultural touchstone that black people have had to rally around. So no shit, they were excited for it. It's just,
I don't think he is unless he's now. I don't think he was then, but yes, this is exactly the kind of fucking asshole he is. Yep. Anyway.
Superhero whose identity did not begin with trauma. 8 years later, the battle over Wakanda is no longer about vibranium. It's about who is allowed to wear the suit.
Can you believe that they have a black British person playing T'Challa's son in Black Panther 3? See, this is why we...
Well, I mean, first of all, you're wrong in how you're framing it, so that's probably why you're not understanding it, because his position is not that it should be an American. The content creator does not hold that position. So if that helps, there you go.
Can't have nothing to ourselves, because why you gonna hire a black person that's also British to play someone in Black Panther? Black Panther is set in Wakanda.
At San Diego Comic-Con, Ryan Coogler introduced British actor David Johnson as the new Black Panther. Johnson will play the adult Prince T'Challa, the son of Chadwick Boseman's character, and lead Black Panther 3.
That's right. I fucking completely forgot that. That was Haiti. Holy shit. Because it was just such a, like, honestly, that was probably, other than the sadness overwhelming the first half of the movie, basically, that was the most, like, that was the part of the movie that really was, like, uplifting to me. Honestly, it was just like, holy shit, I didn't expect it. Here's, you know, here's T'Challa Jr. Of course, great. Because it also made it, you know, worthwhile to a degree that she was not in the movie. Other than that, anyway.
Currently scheduled for December 2028. He's not replacing Chadwick as the exact same man. Marvel is aging up the child introduced at the end of Wakanda Forever and passing the name to the next generation. It should have been a fairly simple announcement. A talented young actor gets one of the biggest roles in cinema, but almost immediately, another question began spreading across the internet. Not whether David could act, not whether he looked like T'Challa, not even whether aging the character made sense. The question was, why is another British man taking one of our roles?
For the record, who's Rob Smith? Why you keep saying Rob Smith? Who is that? Rob Smith is Christian Bale. I'm sure that's not what you're replying to, but he's Tom Holland. Okay, good actor, I guess. No. To answer the age up thing, I believe that it's probably going to be a result of the fact that, you know, spoiler alert for Doomsday and Endgame. I mean Endgame and fucking Secret Wars. The multiverse is gonna go bye-bye. It's gonna be gone. It's gonna go away. It's gonna be bye-byes. Gonna go bed, night, and then it's gonna come back brand new. So I'm imagining that something like aging up T'Challa Jr. is gonna be an effect of that. Just saying.
What the hell is Ryan Coogler thinking? With all the thing with Black American actors and English actors, this what Ryan Coogler decides to do?
Yeah, bro, sharp. From the time this news came out about David Johnson being the new Black Panther, I knew there would be this backlash of Americans talking about British actors and all this kind of thing.
One commentator announced that he would not support a British African Black Panther. Another called the film Teffa Panther Free.
So this involves a term I had not heard before. And it is a tether. I'd never heard this at all. This is intra black thing that apparently exists to some degree. I think it's in my white ass opinion, pretty silly. But yeah, he'll get into it.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. A YouTube video placed the word Teffa directly in its title while discussing Johnson's casting. These are only some reactions, not proof that every Black American feels this way, but they show that an old argument has now entered Wakanda. Even I've made videos about this conversation before. A few months ago, I covered Drewski's sketch about British actors taking every Black American role. We are solid actors. We deserve respect. And I gotta be honest, Drewski, you've taken this way too far. You're playing with our bloody lives and our bloody livelihoods. You've got 24 bloody hours to take down that bloody skit. You gotta disrespect us, Black British actors. Hell no. And I've also talked about, you know, the current controversy going on between Godfrey and certain individuals, certain Black Americans who refer to themselves as foundational Black Americans, FBAs.
It's so funny because my friends that grew up with me sending me messages going, Godfrey, you American, man. You grew up with us. And then when I took the time in college being discriminated against at a university of 40-something thousand, only 800 Black, and all I was around was Black fraternities. My girlfriends were Black, blah, blah, blah. And then we had a Black African-American studies group, and we started reading Black books about African history. And then I got these bozos on here talking about I'm a tether. Who fuck are you talking to? Tether, yeah. You don't even read half the books that I fucking read. You've not even met them.
At this point in time, tether is almost like a slur. You know, it's almost like a slur. All that does is it cements division. It doesn't help bring Black people together. And of course, we all have our own individual issues, right? But collectively, Black people, we do have similar issues. So instead of just like separating and calling that person a tether and that person a tether, wouldn't it make more sense if we come together, right? And try to work together and try to build together. But in regards to Drewski played Samson Dubois, an absurd British actor from Manchester who somehow found himself portraying enslaved Americans, gangsters, and practically every form of Black American suffering Hollywood could place in front of a camera. The joke was aimed at actors such as Damson Idris Elba, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and David Oyelowo, British performers who can arrive in America, adopt their accent, and disappear so completely into the culture that audiences sometimes do not discover they are British until years later. Damson himself laughed at the sketch, commenting under it after his performance as Franklin Sate in Snowfall made him perhaps the clearest modern example. But beneath the jokes was a serious resentment. Black American actors already compete for a limited number of substantial roles. So when a film is specifically about American slavery, segregation, policing, or civil rights, some people understandably ask why the part could not go to somebody who grew up inside that history. Samuel L. Jackson raised a similar question after Daniel Kaluuya starred in Get Out. He wondered whether an African American actor might have brought a different understanding into a story rooted so deeply in American racism.
Daniel grew up in a country where, you know, they've been interracial dating for 100 years, you know. Britain's, there's only about like 8 real white people left in Britain. The rest of them, you know, mixed. So what would a brother from America have made of that role? You know, and I'm sure the director helped, and, you know, some things are universal, but everything ain't.
That's right.
You know?
That is where terms such as FBA, ADOS, and TEFA enter the conversation. FBA, Foundational Black American, is a lineage-based identity used by some descendants of people enslaved in the United States. Within more hostile corners of that conversation, TEFA has become a derogatory term for African or Caribbean immigrants and their descendants who are accused of attaching themselves to Black American history, culture, or political progress.
None of you are my parent.
Is it weird to anybody else but me that to refer to them as immigrants? I feel like that kind of glosses over a bit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. If you know your history, you'll know that the Black Caribbean people didn't emigrate there.
Right, they were like, hey guys, let's go live over there in the New World. That seems like a pretty cool place, right? Yeah, let's just catch a ride with these white folks. It'll be fine. That wasn't exactly how it happened.
None of you. Nobody's perfect talking to me. You do a podcast and do better then. But my thing is, I'm doing this for the good of all of us to bridge a gap and all this, oh, you're a tether, you're a this, you can eat a... I'm just not talking to you, miss. I'm just saying in the general. But
okay,
you can eat a... For real. I'm a tether, I'm a this, all these terms for a bunch of traumatized Black folk. It's like, first of all, I'm a very well-read man when it comes to Black life. Very well read. I've done mounds of going to see the minister, a Savior's Day, all kinds of shit. I met
tether means American African Americans who it seems to me like it's saying that they almost fetishize the history of colonial racism and slavery. Like they almost like it, rather than choose to break free from the historical context that they literally, it's impossible to do. There's like the FBA group are the ones that are really the shittiest ones here, right? Like they're the ones saying that basically you should just, I don't know, pretend like it didn't happen. I think, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I took it to mean what Bob took it to mean, that anyone Black in America whose family wasn't brought over as slaves at some point.
I see. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, well, I might have misunderstood because it definitely gets into the weeds of perspectives I am not familiar with personally, and it's just it all like what I come down on is what what Godfrey's saying here, and then what Fried Plantain ends up saying is that just it is there's far more in common whether we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about in this context African descendant people, but I mean generally people. I believe that we have far more in common with our traumas and struggles than that really should be what we focus on, because I think that if the power that comes from that in whatever context is what people in power are afraid of. That's why I suspect honestly that there's maybe some element of this that is kind of artificially planted into the discourse. I don't know that, but I can't help but wonder it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I have no idea about this, and I'd be fascinated to find out. But this sounds like a right-wing talking point. This sounds like something that the right wing would seed to divide black people against black people.
Well, I mean, and there are right wing black people. There are people that the black supremacists and shit like that is technically a right wing thing, as much as they may not think of themselves as that. It is so, and who knows, how organic any of that is. I'm sure some of it is, but it's almost certain at this point, in my mind, we've seen enough of it, especially in modern times with the internet and social media and stuff, that there is probably in almost every example of this, whether it started off organically or not, that there's been some element of white supremacist power that has inserted itself and maybe boosted something or guided it or whatever. And I'm talking about, from just the context of stuff that I've talked about, Steve Bannon, as I recently kind of came to understand a lot more, that he also was in there at the beginning of Comicsgate. I used to think Comicsgate, for how flawed and stupid and shitty it's always been, I thought that it was kind of organic, at least. I thought that it was actually comics creators and fans who were very racist and very hateful and had wrong ideas about what was going on. But I thought they were just like some fans and some creators and stuff. But like, nope, I don't think it is anymore. I come to understand that I think Steve Bannon was just as involved with that as he was with Gamergate. So, yeah, I can't help but think that there's something like that in almost every situation like this. Anything that's dividing people, that's got us focusing on these, divisions that at the end of the day don't matter. How does it affect you that, I don't know. I'm not going to speak to this specific one, but yeah.
Oakley Carmichael. I met Francis Cress Welsing. I met all these people. Did you? I can question a lot of people on that.
There is a legitimate foundation beneath some of this anger. Black American history should not be treated as a generic costume. Portraying Martin Luther King is not simply a matter of learning a Southern accent. Portraying an enslaved American, a civil rights leader, or a person raised in a specific Black American community may require cultural...
So the one that I immediately just was getting all kinds of flags about the way he was talking about stuff, right? Like it seems like either extremely irresponsible or almost intentionally irresponsible, right? Well, the kind of rhetoric he's using, and then you think about the day and age that we live in right now, and the things that people, actual issues, that the challenges people face to their survival and well-being and stuff, and this is going to be something that he's going to fucking go so hard against. It just seems weird.
Knowledge that cannot always be collected from a dialect coach. But David Johnson has not been cast as Martin Luther King. He's not been cast as Malcolm X or any of these prominent Black civil rights leaders. He has been cast as the son of an African king from a fictional African nation. And guys, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. You're sick of all these Black British actors taking all of these roles. I hear you. As a Black British person, sometimes I've wondered, why the hell am I seeing all these Black British guys taking up with these roles? Why the hell is Damson Idris playing a bloody African American guy? But guys,
why does it say Daniel Kaluuya whenever you said Damson Idris? Fuck.
Racist subtitles.
I know. Are the subtitles? Do they all think black people are all the same, or does this black guy think all black? I don't know. It's maybe, what I've noticed is there's a trend in TikTok and stuff that I like. I actually think is pretty great. A lot of creators now in TikTok stuff that I see, or I guess YouTube Shorts, when they curse on the text on screen, they'll replace the curse word with, like, if they say motherfucking, they'll say Vance couch humping or something like that instead of motherfucking. And so maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But as a black gay as a black gay conservative who disparages black people, funnily enough, he gets harassed several times by conservatives. I thought when I started reading this, I thought you were doing the that one tweet from that guy that one time. You know what I'm talking about? That he was like a white Republican guy who he had accidentally tweeted from his fake account where he'd been posting and he's like, as a black gay man or whatever. It's like, but he was tweeting it from his real account, and it's like, oh. That's what I thought you were doing. Yeah, I mean, I know what a hotep is. I'm aware. It's just, it isn't. It's so far from my understanding of it's hard for me to imagine that being a very common view. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but I don't know. I just don't even put any thought into it. I think it's worth, the reason I thought it was worth talking about now is because it's possible. I don't know what angle they would take with it, but I could see the Chuds using this somehow, so put a pin in this video, I guess. Could happen.
Yeah, I think they'll have difficulty because
definitely. I mean, I can't see them talking about it responsibly in any way, shape, or form. But I mean, what I could see is them being like, black people can't even just, decide that they like, like they get T'Challa, they get Black Panther. It's not good enough or something like that. That's what I could see them doing.
They're qualified actors, they can do the job, and regardless of what you think about them, the fact that they're getting hired has nothing to do with them. It has everything.
It definitely seems like manufactured drama to agree that shouldn't, I mean, ignored in the sense that you shouldn't take it seriously beyond what I think is I think it's worth learning about. I like learning about perspectives that are not my own. These are things I couldn't possibly conceive of being something that I would have known existed until now. So knowing it's out there, if it becomes more common to see as the movie starts to get closer when it comes out and stuff, I'm not going to be surprised by it then. I'm not going to be like, what the fuck are these people talking about? Like I kind of was by the whole recast T'Challa thing. I didn't expect that. Did you see that when it was going on? I mean, I guess it's been going on for a while, but like,
yeah, that was
pretty stark division there. It's like, and to me, I was like, no, you can't just recast T'Challa. That's not, for one thing, that's not a precedent that's really been set as for like the main character of the MCU. It's not happened. You know what I mean? It's happened with some side characters, sure, but like and it just seemed to me that he had made something so singularly, specifically special that as tragic as it was that he died, that yeah, I didn't see it. Just recasting the same exact character made no sense to me.
Yeah, and that was my feeling on it. I think the fact that people on the outside were saying they should just recast it when all of the people who worked on that first film, especially Coogler, seemed to be hit really hard by his death. And to just say, oh, well, just get over it and recast him, I don't think Coogler could. And that's why he's essentially used the conventions of sort of sci-fi within comic books to, I mean, let's be honest, this is essentially recasting.
It is. This is having your cake and eating it too. This is just getting your way and then not giving in to the thing you didn't want to do at the same time.
And it's doing it while getting Disney to fund a film which is basically a memorial for an actor that died that you were good friends with. I mean, Wakanda Forever is largely a memorial to Chadwick Boseman.
I see what you're saying there, Bob. I kind of I don't agree, but I can see that I would probably, if they had chosen well, which I'm sure he would have, if they had decided to do that, Wakanda Forever probably would have been an overall greater film. Maybe. You know what I mean? But like when I think about that movie now, all I think about is Chadwick Boseman. I know that's what it was kind of the point is almost a in canon memorial for the guy. But I mean, part of it is that in a way that I don't like thinking about it, because I kind of it was jarring the way that they did at the beginning of the movie. I felt like where he's like, he's in the other room, he's dying, you can't see him, but he's in there, he's dying, and it's just like, what? That's how you're doing this shit? It just kind of from the very beginning of the movie, it felt fucking strange. And then then you have the whole memorial sequence, which was beautiful and fucking is awesome. And then the movie was full of really cool stuff. Namor was awesome. Even what's her name, who I don't like as a real person for her views, but she did a pretty damn good job as Shuri. Yeah. There's different levels of this. The core is there are similar and unique experiences. Black Americans. You're right. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like I just whether you're black, white, or whatever, I feel like we have far more. We are all under the same boot, so to speak, and we, whatever the distinction, the details of our suffering is. I've always said, by the way, no point in trying to measure trauma against another trauma. I think that's kind of a fucking fool's errand. just accepting that we all have varying degrees of trauma because everybody processes it differently, for one thing. Accepting that and then coming together on that fact and saying what is responsible for this trauma. Oh, it's all the same thing ultimately when we think about it. That's the way to go, in my opinion.
And I forgot what I was going to say now. Again, I think there's possibly a conversation to be had when we're talking about civil rights leaders. Potentially, I think Samuel L. Jackson has. Well,
Definitely.
no, he was talking about Get Out,
and even in that context, kind of like with the civil rights thing, I kind of see what he's saying, and I think that he said it in a way that was not super offensive, really. If Daniel Kaluuya, is that how you say it, Kaluuya? If he was offended by it, that'd be one thing. But like other than that, I don't know. I kind of understand that he's just kind of saying, I wonder what it would have been like, right? He's not saying it was bad because it was him.
Yeah. But I also think that Get Out isn't specifically a Black American experience as well.
Fair enough.
I think that's and that's where the difficulty comes. It's that there is a gulf between Black British people and Black American people in the same way there's
an
a
ocean,
gulf between.
Really. It's not just gulf.
But it's exactly the same as the difference between white British people and white American people. We do have different experiences, and so for something like a civil rights leader, anyone involved in the sort of the pre-civil rights era characters, with the exception of slaves, because plenty of Black British people were victims of slavery, because a lot of Black British people are from the Caribbean and just the West Indies in general, and they were only there because of slavery. So to try and compare the differences between American slavery or United States slavery and West Indies slavery, I think is that doesn't sit right for me. But this is a completely different situation because it's Wakanda. Right. It's a fictionalized African country.
Now that I remember, it's not actually Fried Plantain. He's already made his points, I think, in this, and I think he made them pretty well. There is a clip from another guy that he shows toward the end of the video that I think makes a really good point in that, and it's a American Black dude, and he's doing a kind of car vertical video kind of thing, and he's talking about it, and he's like, the way that he looks at it is, perhaps we should just recognize that Britain, the UK, has some fantastic actors coming out of it, whereas we accept that America has some fantastic basketball players coming out of it because we have the system that's set up to nurture them into and that we produce many amazing Black basketball players, and they do that same thing just with acting, and it's like maybe that's how we should look at it, and it's really just the cultures and systems of each nation that kind of produce that. And that's that kind of makes sense to me. You know what I mean? So I don't see any reason to just shut out a British guy because he's playing T'Challa. But to the civil rights leaders and historical figures and slavery and stuff like that. You should probably at least go out of your way to audition as many American guys as you can, or women, you know what I mean? Because and if it turns out that none of them do a great job, and just the one British guy happens to fucking nail it in his audition, okay, sure. I don't think there should be a hard rule necessarily, but I don't know. And I think that applies to essentially almost anything when it comes to identity of the character versus the person playing. Sorry.
Well, I think Sketchy makes the great point there about not just Black immigrants, not just about American immigrants or descendants of slavery. We didn't have the same sort of racism that you had post-slavery, but there was still a lot of racism, and there still is a lot of racism around. So certainly.
And that's what that's why I think that maybe you're right about Get Out, because Get Out, I think, probably is about a type of racism that is something that probably still exists in the UK more than we might realize, because it is a type of racism that a lot of white people didn't even know was a thing until that movie came out. You know what I mean? And speaking of which, this is the second time today or within 24 hours that Get Out has come up in context of a Marvel movie, because well, I don't want to say anything about Spider-Man, but there is I'll talk about it eventually, but I'll just say that the Get Out is something to keep in mind going forward in the MCU. I'll just say that. But I mean, yeah, comparing types of it's the same thing as what I said about comparing trauma. It's literally the same thing. You know, I mean, not literally the same thing. Obviously, there are specific things about different types of traumas that as an individual, a person has to address and deal with, you know, in that context. But like comparing or pressing them against each other, you know, beating each other over the head with the details of our traumas as if mine's, you know, this or whatever. I think that just coming from a place of respecting those traumas in others, because everybody to a degree or another understands that suffering is bad, and that suffering, especially when it's completely unjustified and unwarranted and unfair and should not exist, is just generally not good, and we should strive to be against that. Hot take. Chuds would still mess it up, and it doesn't matter because they cater to a wide audience. Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is that I could still see them using this in service of their white audience by framing it as like black people can't even get along with like who they want to play their hero or some shit like that. I don't know. I've seen them say some crazy shit. So, you know, just keep an eye out is all I'm saying. And I hope I didn't give them any ideas. On that note, this guy is disappointing right here. So Eric has covered him. I already covered him, but I just want to do it again real quick. It's disappointing.
Right now, if you can tell me why I should be afraid of Doctor Doom. And I don't mean the comic book character, I mean the movie character in Avengers Doomsday. I know Thor is over here quaking in his boots, quivering in his little cape, telling me that Doctor Doom is the biggest, baddest, most scary guy they've ever faced, and he can't just tell me that. I, as an audience member, need to see it. Show me why Doctor Doom is such a big threat. Don't just make empty promises.
Scott. I know that's his name because I used to be a big fan of his channel. In fact, his video on Thor in Avengers Endgame was literally the video that prompted me to finally fucking get over myself and get over my anxieties and fears and just start making YouTube content. I can't express how literal I mean that. Like that video, at the end of it, I was like, fuck this. I'm fucking, you know, because he makes an appeal to it. He's like, it's really fucking brilliant video. Go watch it. But then something happened between then and now somebody told me the other day that he's got a kid recently, had a baby. Maybe that's stressful. I imagine it's stressful, especially these days, this day and age. I definitely worry about my own kids a lot. And I have also become more cynical about the MCU. But this is cynical about it to a degree that almost seems forced. You know, like, Scott, do you realize that you were not seeing the film when you watched this trailer? That's what I want to say. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, this has broken a lot of people's brains. The idea that the trailer, because it used to, I always heard the complaint that the trailer's showing too much. Now it's the trailer's not showing enough. For a start, this was kind of a teaser, basically. We're still 5 months out, 6 months out from film release.
Yep. Wait, who attached to Comicsgate? Scott did? Wait. Oh no, Eric's like, so thank God, dude. I was like, I didn't know it went like that bad. Jesus. Whew. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bizarre. Plus, I don't think it is such a bad thing to have a character you trust say that this guy is a bad guy.
No, I mean, I can't, it's hard to remember specific trailers a lot, but like, I am certain there's been trailers that do this very thing, and especially the teaser trailer. This is not the plot trailer. This is not the trailer that tells you what exactly to expect in the plot. Almost no teaser really does that. You know, when you think about the best teasers, what is The Matrix? I have no fucking idea what this movie's about. You know what I mean? Like when that one came out, right? Like the Phantom Menace, which came out in the same summer. You know, I had no idea what it was about. I knew that there was going to be a Sith guy. I knew that there was going to be the little kid that was going to be Darth Vader. I knew there was going to be a new Jedi, and I knew there was going to be Obi-Wan, and then that's pretty much it. And then Had no idea what the
Well,
plot was.
here's one for you: Ghostbusters. How do we know that Gozer the Gozerian is wicked in that? Is evil? Because the characters tell us that he is.
Yeah.
We don't see Gozer doing anything evil realistically until the last 20 minutes of the film.
So yeah, I do want to address this because it is a conversation that's still happening and it is relevant. I mean, yeah, the colorism thing is once again, it's one of those things that I didn't know about until several years ago. Like I didn't realize that there was this kind of animosity that would be thrown around amongst Black people and also amongst various different people of color. Like learning which I don't know, that like Cubans don't like I don't know, Mexicans or whatever the fuck. I don't know the inner workings of all that, but I know that some of them aren't fans of others, and same thing with some Asian nationalities and stuff. It's I don't know, but it is specifically colorism being like, I've seen Eric July doing that. Eric July doing colorism about Storm. I actually have that shit somewhere. I have it screenshotted where he's like, it's fucking bizarre, and because it's like seeing him do that and then knowing the kind of content that he was making at that time at the same time. It's not like this is a different era of Eric July. He's also making content about how, people are complaining about representation or whatever. It's like, what do you think that you're doing here? You know what I mean? Like, even if I agree with you or say that, like, yeah, that's a valid point. Maybe Storm should be blacker. Okay. But like, what is it that do you think you're the best vessel for this message, buddy?
Yeah. And I mean, I think in comic books, it's a particularly weird criticism to level because of the vagaries of the printing industry meant that a character,
Well, I mean, there's a couple of examples that are pretty shit. My stuff just glitched out. Sorry. I might have to leave and come right back. Let's see if it comes back up real quick. But can you hear me?
Yeah, still hear you.
Cool. Well, so like, there's Roberto da Costa, Sunspot is an example that I've seen a lot of examples where he's just seems to be like either the artists just don't know or don't have any interest in coloring him in a way that would represent his actual heritage, where he's from. But I don't know. I often see a lot of accusations of intent about stuff like that, and maybe that's just the whiteness of me that makes me go, I don't know about that. But I don't, until I know that there is an intent behind something like that. I don't assume there is. But yeah, let's see. Okay, some of my screen has come back, not all of it. Let's see.
Oh, Jake, how white people have it about skin color too, because throughout history, various different white people now were not considered white.
True.
Yeah, it's a human thing. I mean, the obvious example is Italians and Irish people weren't considered white when they first got to America.
It really does boil down to like, it just boils down to the fact that we are biologically programmed to notice differences than what we're used to, right?
And some people will exploit those differences for their own gain or because of their own inadequacies.
Yep. Some people that will just allow that to dictate how they operate. They don't think, hey, I actually don't live in like, the jungle as like the first man, I'm not like amongst the Stone Age first human beings where we have to literally wonder if the tribe over is going to hunt us, and you know what I mean? Like, that's not what we don't live like that anymore. So maybe I should be a little bit more mindful of these biological hangups that I still have because our brains haven't really evolved all that much. Yeah, but no, some people just are cool with it, I guess. It's weird. A good example of this outside of humans. So I'm sure everybody's heard of a racist dog before, right? A dog that only barks at.
Are you aware there was a film about this very thing?
No, I don't think so.
This is going to annoy me now because there's a content creator that I watched. I'll try and find it. I don't know if you want to carry on while I do, but it's an excellent video.
Well, there's a racist dog. I knew plenty of them growing up in where I'm from in the South and stuff. and a long time I didn't know what really that was. I just thought it was kind of honestly, I thought it was kind of amusing and funny that there would be a dog that just is racist somehow. Like, what does it know about skin color or stuff? But like, when you understand how a dog literally views the world, and you know the limited visual spectrum that they have compared to what humans have and stuff like that, and you think, and the thing is that a racist dog can be racist against white people. It all depends on who's it's raised around, because it's used to, you know, people in its limited visual, you know, ability looking a certain way, right? And then so if it sees somebody else that looks completely different in that visual spectrum, like someone that's way darker, that doesn't know what the fuck to think of that, you know. And that, so when you think about a racist who just sees somebody of different skin color and reacts negatively to that, it's like, oh, you're literally no smarter than a fucking canine. Like, you know, that's how I think of it.
Yes, there's a film called White Dog from the 80s, and there's the channel is called Man Boy Nice. He hasn't made a video. He has only made a few videos, but he's made
I'm gonna
4
have to
videos.
exit and come right back. I apologize.
Okay,
be right
you come back. I'll basically pimp this channel. So yeah, there's a guy called Man Boy Nice. He's only got just under 5,000 subscribers, so I would suggest checking out his videos. He's only done 4 full-length videos and a few shorts, but the last 2 he did were the wokest horror movies of the 1980s, part 1 and 2, and it's woke not as a pejorative, and some brilliant videos. The first one is about horror films you might have heard of. The second one is less well known horror films, basically. Let's see. So he argues that The Entity, Maniac Cop, White Dog, and Chud were woke in the 80s, woke horror films in the 80s. And White Dog, I'd never heard of the film, and it sounds like a trip, but basically the idea is that a woman is saved from attack by this dog, and the dog a woman is accidentally hits a white dog with her car and can't find its owners, but takes it home while looking for them. Then she's attacked in her own home, and the dog protects her. So she attempts to adopt the dog until she finds out that the dog has actually been trained to attack black people. And Paul Winfield is he's the guy from Wrath of Khan who gets the worm in his ear that isn't Chekhov. He's a dog trainer, and he recognizes that this is a dog that's been trained to basically attack black people by a racist, and tries to deprogram it. It sounds like a very well-made film, and yeah, like I said, Man Boy Nice is the creator. I would suggest you check out his videos because I really enjoyed them. And,
Will do. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to have a movie to exist about that I had also never heard of. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's as people pointed out, how you raise a dog is basically everything. But I mean, it does start on a just a very basic tribalism kind of level with and just seeing something that you're not used to seeing, and then what is done with that is the same thing as like the owners of the dog can either be, you know, normal people who are like, hey, that's okay, calm down, relax, or they can be like the grifters on the internet who encourage their dogs to bark at black people, right?
Yeah, and in the film, what they discover is that the owner of the dog is a horrible racist, like despicable, and he's specifically trained the dog to attack black people. And yeah, it's a crazy film. It's amazingly, it's sensitively done. And like I said, it's
Oh shit.
Very political. Because Man
Captain
Boy Nice
Cop.
makes.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. I was just going to say, Man Boy Nice makes the point that Maniac Cop is actually an anti-cop film.
I saw it a long time ago, but I can kind of see that from memory. But thank you for this comment, man. This is kind of the lifeblood of why we do it, other than just being able to talk to friends about stuff that we're into. Is knowing that there's people out there that still appreciate it. I'll be honest, we're not as necessary as we were once. There's not as much of a, not to say that the bigotry and stuff behind the content and the interest in the content has gone away, because it's not, but perhaps has maybe gotten more radicalized and is because part of the function of the content that we've criticized a lot has been to kind of smooth over the rough edges of bigotry for certain people, for people that were, primed to be bigots, but like just didn't like thinking about themselves that way. So they needed, they need these narratives, these papered over talking points that they can, call it historical accuracy or as DEI practices or whatever. It's like, it's stuff that, like, because they're cowards, it's a cowardly fucking thing to do, to just not be self-honest and self-aware enough and just like say, hey, I'm fucking racist piece of shit. I don't like anybody that doesn't look and think exactly like me. It's like I wouldn't respect you, but I would probably still think you're a piece of shit. But yeah. Anyway, kind of rambling because I am hungry and tired. But thank you for your comment. That is what I'm saying, is that we appreciate it and appreciate all you guys. And here's an announcement. Saturday will be the final stream on the actual Fandom channel. The channel is being archived. It is donezo. I'm starting over. I will let you know where that's going to be. It's not really starting over. There's already the channel I've got that I'm going to be pivoting to has already got a couple thousand subs. You're probably maybe already subscribed to it. We'll see. But actual Fandom is gone the way of the dinosaur. And on Saturday, not only will it be the final stream, it will be a 24-hour stream. I will be streaming for 24 hours. I will have guests. I will have, I think, Pillar of Garbage. I think maybe Ant. I think maybe no, not Malachi. I think Malachi won't be back in town yet. Ryan maybe hopefully can make it for a little while.
If I get an invite, you left me off the invite list.
Did I really? Yeah. Fuck. Well, I mean, okay. Fair enough. I did. Yeah. I mean, you know what I was thinking was I was tagging people who don't often engage in the server. That's who I was thinking of. So, and I know that you did. I figured
it's fine.
But no,
it's fine. I just thought I'd use this opportunity to embarrass.
To call me out. I see. Tell everybody I'm a terrible friend. I get it. No, of course you're invited. Everybody's invited. If you're in the audience and you have a decent microphone that's not going to sound like shit and you want to hop on for a few minutes, I'll let you do that. Just hit me up. Yeah, because it's going to be 24 hours of streaming, but it's not just 24 hours of streaming. It's 24 hours of talking about nerdrotic. That's right. I made a mistake with this man when I first started covering Chuds, and I undervalued him as far as like what his stake, what his role, what his position, what his power levels were in this whole thing. I dismissed him. I was like, that guy, look at him. Nobody fucking cares about this guy's like, he's nothing. You know what I mean? It's naive, early choice that I made, and I therefore did not take him seriously for the first couple of years. I didn't really start taking him seriously until I got with the initiative, and I started looking at what Bob had talked about with him, and Turf, and they watched some of their videos. I was like, holy shit, this guy is wow. And then of course eventually Pillar of Garbage made his video talking about him and really pulled the curtain back to show that this guy is the ringleader. And I've got so much content about this guy that we're going to look at. We're going to look at basically anybody that's made a decent video about the guy, but also some really great videos about the guy. And I've also got some analysis that I've done that I have not presented in video or streams really. And we're going to talk about
I hope you're going to dig into more of the early days as well to see how much of a piece of shit he is.
Yes. It's going to be pretty exhaustive. And, I mean, that's not to say that we're literally we're going to talk about whatever. It's going to be kind of a chill, just I want to make it through 24 hours. And the reason for this is because I'm still lacking in the funds that I need for a move. which is going to happen. It seems like in sometime in the first half of August. And so definitely going to need help with shares on the GoFundMe and stuff like that. And if you're able to help out with a couple doll hairs, I'll definitely take it. But main thing is I just really was hoping to get people sharing it on their social medias and whatnot. And yeah, so also I figured it's a good time to go ahead and just fucking be done with this channel, because honestly, it is not monetizable anymore. Actual fandom. They have screwed me out of that. It is no longer able to be monetized because they were not specific with me when they said what they that I needed. I give them some kind of information, and I sent emails. I did all kinds of shit. I'm like, I don't understand what it is you're needing from me. Here's all my documents. Sent them all those. They never responded. So for whatever reason that is, I don't know. I don't understand. But nonetheless, I've got other options, and we're gonna go ahead and pivot to those because look, I got to 8,000 subs with that channel when I started it, and having no belief that I'd be able to grow really. Okay, so what would happen if I really focus on another channel that's already got a leg up with a couple thousand subs, and then also with a lot of intent and a kind of fresh focus on things, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. But I need to go ahead and cut myself off of this one, which is hard to do. It's hard to say this channel is not viable anymore, and that I need to do it different. But I've also got a business plan now. I've got a content plan strategy. So there's that.
There's nothing. You've also got the when you were making videos, you've also got all that content which you can port over to the new channel and either perhaps just upload them as is, or do a retrospective on them, reflect on maybe how your thinking has changed on it or how it hasn't changed. And
no, it definitely is right. That's one of the ideas. And then and I generally want to broaden what I'm going to be doing to what I've realized I don't like is generally obviously just bigotry and but other than that, just dishonest narratives and grifting and exploiting people who maybe don't have media literacy or context to understand something or whatever. And that's the stuff that I really don't like. I don't like deceiving people. I don't like people being deceived. And I at one point thought I was pretty good at that kind of thing, and then I lost some focus because I got too zeroed in on chuds and then but I started hating that because it felt so fucking myopic. But then I started pivoting pretty hard to politics and stuff, and that I think the algorithm didn't like, along with my whatever went on with my channel and the monetization, where it was gone for a couple of years. They gave it back to me. I had it for a while, and then they were suddenly like, hey, nah, something's wrong, give us what we need. And I'm like, oh, okay, what is that? And they're like, give it to us. And I'm like, okay, what is it you need? Give us the thing. And I'm like, what is the thing? And they're like, fuck you, give it to us. That's basically how it went. Yeah, YouTube screwed me over, but I mean, to be honest, it's my own fault. I will always take accountability for that. When I started the channel, I had no notion that it would ever make money or anything like that. It was just, I really didn't think that would happen. I just felt compelled to do it. And so I was very, very careful to not have my identity attached to anything, because what I planned to do, I had an inkling that I would piss some people off and they might try to, retaliate. I was right. But yeah, oh, if you guys will fuck with some merch, I'll have some merch ready for Saturday, man. I got some designs and shit already. In fact, I'll have some. Oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll have some designs for some stuff. I can set up a drop ship thing. I've already done the research on which ones the best ones of those are. Yeah, but anyway, so the point being is that the name that I used in the initial setting up of actual fandom, which I mean, like the name, the person that behind the channel was not my actual name. And that became just a source of problems. Once you then way sooner than I would have ever, because I didn't expect it at all. But then within like 5 months, I was monetized. No, 3 months monetized. And then shortly after that, I was getting, doing channel memberships. And then suddenly this is a taxable thing that like I have to report to the IRS and all this shit. And it's like, it becomes a whole thing there. And then they started implementing certain, and I think that's what happened this time, is they implemented a new layer of identity verification that for whatever reason I was not able to satisfy them with, even though I literally gave them my driver's license. I think I fucking sent a copy of my birth certificate or social security card. I was like, here's everything. What do you need? Take it. And that wasn't good enough. So and they kept telling me, if you don't do this by this date, it'll no longer be possible to monetize this channel. And then that date has hit. So fuck it. I tend to see it as an opportunity. Anyway, so Saturday, that's going to happen. I'll probably start morning. I don't know, sometime. Just probably be I'll probably stream Friday night a little bit, and I'll definitely let y'all know then what exactly is going to be going on as far as I know it then. Probably look at some old videos. Definitely gonna look at some other videos. Let me see what I got. I've got folders, or a folder primarily with nerdrotic stuff in it, because I've been meaning to make a compilation kind of video of a bunch of people's different takes on him in one video, and I just never have done it because it's kind of a massive undertaking what I wanted to do. Bob Chaos and I had started a script on a nerdrotic video that was going to be like how we did our drinker video with Turf before, and then for whatever reason we just didn't focus on it enough to keep it going. I might record that before then. We'll see. I need to talk to Bob and see what he thinks. But I've got a folder. I'm just going to check it real quick here. It's got 8.26 gigabytes of nerdrotic, and that includes various videos, video clips of what presumably his fans. I found on YouTube a video of the best of nerdrotic, so that's something we can, like, what do his fans think is the best of his content, right? And we can learn something. I also have a new working theory about what I think his deal is. And then, we're going to look at everything. We're going to look at how he was on Benny Johnson's celebrating hitting 2 million subscribers with Nerdrotic and Alex Jones stream. That's kind of weird, right? And then how that they would make videos about the same topic at the same time on their respective channels. It's weird when you consider, what Benny Johnson was caught doing. All this stuff and more, we're going to look at it. We're going to look at old nerdrotic. We're going to, from in good faith, try to find what it is about nerdrotic that appeals to people. Even that's something I want to try and do. Not just like completely be like everything he says is fucking bullshit. Nope. I'm going to look for what is it that he's doing that is, something maybe we've missed. Even we'll see. And I'll take recommendations and suggestions for you guys as well. It'll be a good time, pretty relaxed. Yeah, it'll be fun. Hopefully, it'll be a day. That's for sure. Oh, well, done good. Hopefully you do. I was about to say, no, it's Saturday, but no, I did date a woman in Australia, so I know that it will be Sunday for you. So, dated a woman in Australia. By the way, do you guys know what Charlie Kirk's legacy is? That's what we're going to learn about right before we close the stream. But I had a couple of quick videos that I wanted to look at, like this one.
As you well know, there are a lot of actors that are afraid to kind of like speak their mind and kind of like.
I don't give a shit. I told you, I'm missing that gene, dude. I need that because everybody's scared around me for what I'm going to say. Everybody's scared. My publicist right now is like, I say she's like biting her nails. Her nails she bites her nails down to the cuticles. They're just tiny little cuticles left. And she's like, what is this idiot going to do? I just have to. She actually showed me her beautiful nails right now. It's like people I think are a little bit afraid of me because they're like, he's a loose cannon, and I'm not. I'm just saying the shit that everybody should say if they give a shit about humanity, And why am I the exception to the rule, bitch? Everybody else speak up You are all feeling the same thing, you idiots. Like get loud and stop like kowtowing to the wrong people. Stop bowing down to people that like have power. You got power too, man. And power in numbers, dude. I love Dex. I had the best time on his show. And he goes, maybe you should let go of that stuff. And I'm like, let go. I was like, everybody else should have it. Everybody else should feel like I feel.
The world is on fire.
The world, yeah, like, oh, mad about the way things are and the abuses that are happening. The Epstein files. The fucking Epstein files! God damn it! Where are they? It's a fucking law, bitch! Show it! You fucking pedophiles! I shouldn't say fuck because I'm a Christian and people are gonna go like, how can he say fuck and he's a Christian? Because that is something that should make you want to say fuck. You know, sorry, God, I'm sweating now. This is my fucking politics, dude. I would fucking railroad these fuckers. I would get those Epstein files out in 2 seconds. Yeah, dude, 2 seconds, fucking move out of the way. Like, get out of there. I don't care what room they're in, bitch, move. Like, give me the fucking manila envelope. I will get you the Epstein files. Don't you want to see what's in there so that we can hold people accountable? These fucking rapists? We're just cool with it? That bitch has the keys to the nuclear... He's like all up into 13-year-olds. Like, dude, what? Go to jail.
Indeed. Go to jail, indeed. So there's a he's fucking awesome. I love that guy. If every Christian was like him, would have a much higher opinion of Christianity in general.
Who was the moron that made the video about him lying about what he was saying?
Oh, Endymion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're all a lot of people. A lot of them are making videos about him now. That was him trying to get a little niche thing before anybody really knew what he was about, so he could get away with that. No, now the chuds they're piling on him hard because he's come out. Once he said Trump and Epstein in the same sentence, that wasn't Trump doesn't have anything to do with Epstein. They're like, and you can see it on YouTube now. They're really aiming for him, and I imagine he's not going to take that well, and he's not going to shut up. So, yeah. So there's this musical artist named Ricky Bascom, who I encountered his name while listening to the QAnon Anonymous podcast. One of my favorite podcasts. I don't listen to it all the time, like every week, but occasionally I'll drop in. And they were talking about Charlie Kirk. It was the regular hosts, and then the folks that run Left Coast Right Watch, which is a anti-fascist kind of they just keep an eye on what fascists be doing and things they be saying, and they cover it in a journalistic manner. And they're saying, that and I think it's pretty obvious to anybody that was paying attention, the government, our fucking government, and then the right wing, in general, the machine went too hard. They went too hard on that Charlie Kirk stuff, and it backfired. So you end up with, memes of like, we are Charlie Kirk. We care, like it's. For instance, if you haven't seen this clip of Hassan where he referenced this, I think it's a good example of how that turned out for them. Let me find that. But like, they were trying to, paint over what his legacy actually was, what he was really about, what he really did, what he really believed. And they didn't want anybody to actually talk about the things that Charlie Kirk was about, right? And that's something like, as far as we know, 300 something people got fired from their jobs for just saying something other than praiseworthy about his death or about him, and as the man that he was. So that's fucking weird and fucked up if that happened. But like, let's see. Here we go. Yeah. So this is Hassan.
Kill Charlie Kirk. No, I was about to debate Charlie Kirk. Why the fuck would I want anybody to kill him? Listen, I know this is a difficult concept for you to understand, but I was actually supposed to debate Charlie Kirk 2 weeks prior to his assassination. Obviously, I have a very different method of going about things than the way that you're trying to present it, because if that was my mentality, I would never try to debate him. Charlie respected that. And it's really sad to see the rest of the remnants of the conservative movement refusing to carry the flame in the way that Charlie Kirk wanted it to be carried. I, on the other hand, do carry that flame because we are Charlie Kirk.
Discussing things like America deserves
we carry the flame. We fight for the gospel. We honor his name.
By working with the
Do you know those
government.
words? Do you internalize those words? You should.
Yeah, that was fucking sick, man. That was really gross. I mean, I also saw Trump fucking going off script at Lindsey Graham's funeral. It's like, man, that's so disgusting. But it's also exactly what he deserves. He tied himself to that man. So what you do is that man speaking at your funeral and saying, you know, the thing that everybody always say at funerals, which is, you know, everybody liked him or whatever. But for the record, I want to go ahead and say this. In the event that I pass away someday, I don't know if I will, maybe I won't. I don't want anybody to gloss over the fact that people didn't like me. I want a good amount of time given to the people that hated me when speaking about me, because I'm very proud of the people that hate me by and large. Nonetheless, Trump is reading off the script and he's like, you know, oh, people loved him, Democrat and Republican. Then he looks up and you can tell he gets this little twinkle in his eye, like, I'm going to go off script. Fuck it. And he's like, well, not everybody liked him. It's like, holy shit, dude. Anyway,
Did you see his little joke-a-thon at the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
I caught a couple of minutes of it. I caught, you know, at least him desperately putting the hat on, trying to rile people up. It's so pathetic. He's lost his juice. It's gone. He's depleted his juice.
It's not even that. Clearly, somebody in his circle had written some jokes for him, and they weren't great jokes, but they were the kind of bullshit jokes but he couldn't tell them because between the lead line and the punchline, he would wander off and meander down these, you know, doing his classic weave thing. You can't do that with a joke.
Well, yeah, if you go look at like some of the people that talk about, I think Taron Killam maybe is one of them. He's talked about his time on SNL and how, I think Pete Davidson for sure has talked about how the guy clearly, like, and because he's just literally a narcissist, like the most textbook example of one. And narcissists cannot be, they can't be self-critical, therefore they can't be self-irreverent, right? So they can't, and basically they're constantly looking for some way to tear people down, and so that they mistake that for humor. That's why he says the shit he says up there. He's just insulting people the same way he always does, and he thinks that's jokes because he literally doesn't understand humor. He does, you know.
But he thinks it's the writer's fault that he's wandered off down this tangent and just doesn't even understand now, if he ever did, just the formula of a joke. The Daily Show covered this brilliantly on Monday night's episode about just how bizarre and bad it is. And the other thing they point out is that when you're surrounded by sycophants who laugh at everything you say, then you think everything you say is funny.
Yep. I mean, Jay Kung, yeah, I've seen that statue. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's pretty great, actually. It's pretty cool. I think it's you know, I mean, look, many people were unfortunately forced to witness that whole event. I literally have a line about it in my song that I've got. And that, you know, we didn't want that. We just, there it was. And I think there was probably some degree of, probably after a while anyway, I think they were probably pushing it to be more engaged with, because it was all over social media. And so we had to see that, and we had to see that and feel a human way about someone who literally his job was to dehumanize so many people. And that sucks. It sucks that to be somebody that actually does see the value of human life, even the value of a life that's as shitty as he was. And he should not have died, right? And yet it makes me feel angry that I feel that way about it. I had to feel that. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like I wish that I could turn it off for certain people. I wish that I could go, fuck that guy. I can't. I saw a human being get shot in the neck and die. You know what I mean?
Is the statue supposed to be him at that event? Because it looks like it's of him at that event, which is a weird thing to make a statue of.
Oh, I don't know if we're talking about the same statue.
It's the one that guy made, the Italian guy, I think.
I don't know who made it. I know it's the one that is squirting blood out of its neck.
Oh no, not that one.
Yeah, I don't think you're talking about the same one. It's is that what you were talking about, Jay Kung? Because that one's pretty funny. That's what I'm saying. That, like
No,
that helped me process the fact that I felt bad for the guy dying, right? Like, because I wish I didn't, but I did. But that brings me to this whole thing, which is I found this. Listen to that podcast. They brought up his legacy, and they mentioned a line in a song that is apparently this is an underground kind of rapper thing. Look, I don't like the music very much. I think it's brilliant in a way, but just like audibly, like the actual music, the singing and stuff is not good. I don't like it. You may like it. Go check him out. His name's Ricky Bascom. I think he's got an interesting approach to his aesthetic and the things he's saying in his songs and stuff, and he's definitely getting clicks and people like it. Younger people, I believe, but not my thing. Except there's one line that apparently has gotten some attention. He's got a song called Charlie Kirk, and so I'm gonna leave you with that line as we exit here. Yeah, so tune in Friday. I'll be streaming on Friday. Check out Nothing But Media. Check out all the people, and hope y'all have a lovely remainder of your week. We are Charlie Kirk.
I've got her squirting like